that has been designed and implemented to divide our country.
The vice president also said,
I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy.
Former President Trump at a town hall on Univision saying the Biden administration lost control of the border and the economy.
What they've done to this country is incredible in so many different ways.
A Fox News poll gives the former president a 2-point lead. A month ago, Vice President Harris led Trump by 2. President Biden has just taken off for Germany.
Aside from the U.S., Germany has been Ukraine's biggest partner in terms of helping them defend themselves against Russian aggression. So much of the focus here will be setting Ukraine on a course to continue to defend itself, with the future of the U.S. role in that a little bit unclear with the election on the horizon.
That's Fox's Jackie Heinrich in Berlin. The U.S. went on the attack in Yemen with airstrikes targeting weapons stored by the Houthis, Iran-backed militants who've been attacking ships in the Red Sea region. Americans shopped more last month. Retail sales in the U.S. rose 0.4% from August, more than expected. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
An argument and then a shooting. Radar is clear, partly cloudy. It's 31 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. That's what police say happened on the west side overnight. It was outside of a Red Roof Inn along Lyndhurst, where IMPD says shots were fired and a woman was found badly hurt. IMPD Captain Don Weilhammer.
This is permanent, so there's countless lives that are going to be affected by this, that would happen here tonight.
He says they're looking for the shooter. Witnesses say that Chastity Hahn had been fighting with someone before she was shot. She died later on at the hospital. The trial against Richard Allen in the Delphi murders case starts tomorrow. The jury will be sworn in and sequestered today. As for the next month, they will be immersed with the evidence and testimony. The trial expected to last well into November. Pretending to be a federal judge to wipe away her debt. Sasha Nixon reports that's the charge against a woman in Fishers.
Christy Lee Dodd filed for different chapters of bankruptcy in 2015 and 2019. She later moved to have her 2019 case dismissed, meaning she still had unpaid debts. So a jury believes that she used the discharge order she received in 2015 to craft and forge a signature on another order last year, so as to absolve herself of any debts and get a line of credit. Sasha Nixon, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
If you want to solve the issue of guns and violence, Republican candidate for governor Mike Braun says it's important to focus on where guns are going.
The key is to keep them out of the hands of criminals and the mentally ill. And if you do that job, everyone else can have their freedom, and it shouldn't be infringed because you're not doing the job that you got plenty of laws to do.
Telling WIBC's Hammer and Nigel he's committed to also lowering property taxes and health care costs. Anthony Richardson will start this Sunday against Miami. He says his last 2 weeks out of the lineup were not unproductive.
I watched Joe, the way he prepared last week. He did a great job. And I watched him during the games and how calm he is. It's just a blessing to see that. So it just lets me know I got to do the same thing.
As for other injured players, Jonathan Taylor once again held out of practice with his sprained ankle. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
Southbound 69 stop and go traffic 96th Street down to 465. Northbound 65 slow out of the north split, staying downtown. Southbound 65 shut down at West Street for 15 days or until early October 31st. We hope this is a bridge maintenance project that has closed the interstate. If you're going southbound, you're pushed off at West. You can find reroutes at WIBC Traffic. Traffic sponsored by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half's recruiting professionals utilize their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent. I'm Matt Baer on the 5s at WIBC Traffic.
Looking for a great deal on a new Lincoln? Come to Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator and get a $4,000 discount. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. We look forward to seeing you at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock L24401, MSRP 107425. Stock L24284, MSRP 43435. See dealer for complete details.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max used for adults only.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Cold start this morning, sunny and warmer to finish today, a high of 62. Tonight, mostly clear and chilly, a low down to 39. I'm Wish TV's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
A brisk 31 downtown. It's partly cloudy. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, October 17th. It's 7 minutes after 9. You are listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So last night, Kamala Harris sat down and had an interview with Bret Baier from Fox News. They started with immigration and really never got off of it because it only lasted 20 minutes. Reportedly, she arrived late to the interview and her staff were standing in the background waving him off. Throw in the towel. Throw in the towel. End the fight.
It was like in Rocky IV when Apollo Creed gets in there with Ivan Drago in that celebrity boxing or charity boxing match that they have. This was another example of how the whole idea of liberalism and these liberal candidates is a giant charade. They are 100% protected by the mainstream national media that is largely an arm of the Democrat Party, and almost every time they face any sort of scrutiny, she couldn't even get through one question. She imploded on the opening question, Casey.
She did. It was probably the toughest interview that she's had so far. And kudos to Bret Baier. People were curious if he was going to softball questions to her. He did not. And she did not answer one direct question. She didn't take any responsibility for any of her actions or anything that she hasn't done during her time as vice president. She didn't comment on any of her previous commitment policy positions. She was all over the map. It was worse. She was contradicting herself in her own answers. But the one thing that I noticed more than anything, and let's just do a little role playing here for Cam
boy,
Rob.
I've been waiting to role play with you for years.
Yeah, okay.
Hot dang.
So just ask me
Who
a
are
question.
you? Which one are you?
I'm gonna be Harris. Okay.
Oh, it's a little less exciting than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah,
Okay.
You just ask me a question, any question at all.
Miss Harris, how do you explain the disaster that is the southern border?
Well, here's my answer.
Democrats voted. Donald Trump, 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 and Donald Trump, Donald Trump.
President Biden had a fundraiser debate stage.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump.
Well, look, the Biden administration, of which Joe Biden has made very clear she was right there with him the entire way, the results of the last 4 years are simply indefensible. And when you force someone to explain this, when you go to someone and go, hey, talking points aren't going to work here, I'm going to give you even a little bit of pushback, they can't answer the most simplistic of questions. And Casey, and I am loath to do this right out of the gate on this show. Like I laid awake in bed last night and at midnight I was shivering in fear for having to do this. But right out of the gate, on the opening segment of this highly rated #1 radio show, I'm going to have to do my least favorite thing, Casey, that I hate to do.
Are you going to be right?
Well, I have to tell everybody how right I was.
Okay.
Because, again, if you will recall, whatever that was, a month ago, when the debate between Kamala and Trump and people were just up in arms and they were beside themselves and they were pounding their fists and they were, I can't believe he'd do that. What a distraction. He did it again. He is snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. over Trump's comment about eating the dogs and eating the cats. And there was one person, one single solitary person who raised their hand and said, I don't think you're understanding what's going on here. And everybody, no, you're a homer. You're blind to Trump. You're not seeing it. He did it again. And I said, wait a second. Okay. He's a billionaire and you work wherever it is you work. I'm going to go with the guy that was smart enough at marketing and presenting himself to the public to be, look, Trump is nuts. He's not crazy. He knows what he's doing. And ever since he uttered that phrase, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, the conversation in this country, the number one conversation has pivoted off of the economy. Now, obviously, people are still talking about that. But the number one thing people are talking about has pivoted off of the economy, which they through the Fed or whatever, they can spike, they can goose, they can smoke and mirror. They cannot do that with immigration. They have no answer for what's happened in this country, both the mass amount of illegal immigration and these people who they have illegally let into the country, including a guy who apparently was going to commit mass terrorism on Election Day. They have no answer for this. And Trump has made his strongest issue, since that moment, his strongest issue has been the number one talked about issue, including the first thing Brett Baer asked her about, and she totally imploded on. Donald Trump knew exactly what he was doing when he said that. This is why we're number one. This is why we're different than everybody else. This is why you listen to us, because we get what's going on.
Yep. So she gets on the defensive immediately and asked if she's regretting any of her border policies, which has allowed known murderers into the country. So she starts off with a non-answer. She gets mad at Brett Baer for even asking the question.
Do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please? But you have to let me finish,
You had the White House and the House and the Senate, and they didn't bring up that bill.
I'm responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have, and what they want.
All right. Like I can't deal with it. So she could not point to one thing that they have done that has made it any better. She could not point to one thing that they plan to do to make it better. The only thing that she could point to was this bill that Brett Baer pointed out, your own party, people in your own party, when you had full control of the government. Keep in mind that Democrats had full control of the United States government for the first 2 years of the Biden administration. They could have done whatever they wanted to do, and they chose not to pass this. And then she pivots to, well, we had this bipartisan bill, which she doesn't go into any detail on why people would have voted against it, mainly the mass amnesty for all these people illegally in the country. And it is this victim. What is it with politicians or want to be politicians in perpetual victimhood instead of owning their actions and voting records and legislative records? They want to blame everybody but themselves. She totally imploded on this question. She has no answer for this question. The way she was going at him, she came. There's one thing to come guns ablazing and say, I'm not going to take your crap, but that was horrible.
94 executive orders to undo everything that Donald Trump had done. Right?
But I cannot, and I know I got to get to break. I cannot stress this enough. The reason immigration is the issue, the reason everybody is talking about immigration is the issue, is because Donald Trump used the phrase, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. If he had simply said immigration is bad, or they're letting 15 million people illegally into the country, he wouldn't be wrong, but that would not have spurred social media memes and GIFs and Twitter back and forths and everything else. He was able to take that issue and make it the issue, and he's probably going to win the presidency because of it.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. This could be one of the most consequential votes of our lifetime.
Who will be our next governor? U.S. Senator. Our next president. Who will represent us in the General Assembly?
You have a voice with your one vote.
Unhappy with the current state of affairs? You can do something about it. Voting is one of our most important rights as Americans.
It's how you can stand up for your beliefs,
your values, and for future generations. A reminder to make your vote count on November 5th. November
5th.
From WIBC
and Urban One.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Hoosiers need a fighter to protect our jobs and our values. I'm Todd Rokita, your Attorney General. I fight for you, and together we win. Suing Biden because he's opened the border to illegals who are killing us, harming our kids, and driving up our taxes. Stopping federal bureaucrats who kill jobs and jack up our electricity prices with their failed Green New Deal that does nothing for our air and water. Keeping criminals behind bars where they belong. Recovering millions of dollars from welfare theft, fraud, and from opioid drug manufacturers, all to protect your health and your tax dollars. Creating the Parents' Bill of Rights so you can protect our kids from those trying to corrupt them while you're at work. Successfully keeping boys from competing in girls' sports and defending, of course, our pro-life values. And the Gun Owners' Bill of Rights so you can defend yourself and your family. I'm Todd Rokita, and with your vote this November, we'll keep fighting and winning together. Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
At Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, we're good at insurance. But not just any insurance. We're good at fireworks don't go in the attic insurance. Hole in window insurance. Even guy that shouldn't have a chainsaw but has a chainsaw insurance. Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and stop knocking on wood.
So this new dose is, well, nope, that's not it.
The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
I love my Window Nation windows. They look great on my house. Window Nation's 96% customer satisfaction rating, the highest in their industry.
And Window Nation's energy-efficient windows can save you up to 40% on your energy bill. I know because I'm a customer and I've seen it. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows for free, plus pay nothing, no interest for 2 years. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Royal Spa hot tubs are simply better. Come into any of our locations and make the salesperson prove the superiority of the Royal Spa product.
Royal Spa.
Weekend emergency, no problem. They're here for you 7 days a week at B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical. B+W.com/radio to learn more. B&W is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Okay, question, Casey.
Yeah.
When Kamala Harris walked with, that interview's done, and she walks out of there, and she did, what is she like?
How much does she rage against her staff? Is that what you're going to ask me?
I wonder, like, does she look at them and go, how did I do? Does she know that it was a complete train wreck?
Well, I think you can tell by her demeanor and how high her voice got during some of the answers that she knew it was not going well for her.
Yeah, like, you gotta. This is why I wonder why they had her do this interview. They had to know, okay, first of all, it's Fox, but second of all, Fox is not going to go soft on her. Now, I didn't think Brett Baer asked anything that was out of the norm. I mean, immigration is clearly a fair question, right? I mean, there was a bevy of things they touched on. But if you didn't have her ready for that, why would you let her go and do that interview?
Well, I think they were trying to appeal to more voters that they thought that they could swing in their direction.
Okay, so this is where I feel like the candidates.
Why else would she do it?
Well, I watch politics from a distance as an entertainer, because one of the things that Trump brought to the forefront is that our politics now are basically dinner theater, right? We as a society have so failed to hold our politicians to account, and that's on us, that we basically have so many of these people who are just completely unqualified to run. They have no business. They struggle to even run their own lives properly, and yet they decide they can lord over, rule over, decide for other people better. They can decide for themselves. That we've basically, for some reason, accepted this. But then the trade-off was, well, let's turn it into dinner theater and at least be entertained by it. And so if you're a candidate, I like, other than Trump and maybe a couple of other ones, the politicians are failing to, because they are stiff, right? These people, many of them have personalities of dried paint. They're not normal people. They're not cool people. They're not people who interact well with others. That they have failed to understand the world in which we're living and how people are voting and how people are judged. And part of how we're judged, it used to be, okay, I'm doing an interview with 60 Minutes. Well, everybody's watching 60 Minutes, right? If it's the president or candidates, or, hey, I remember when George Bush and Al Gore were on Oprah. Everybody's tuning into those episodes of Oprah who don't watch Oprah because, well, that's where they are. That's where you have to meet them at. Now, it's all whatever gets posted on Twitter. Most people didn't watch all of that Kamala Harris interview.
They watched the clips.
They've seen the clips.
Yeah.
And so if we're in a clip-based world, why you're giving the other side what they want when you know your candidate is weak on that thing, that is beyond me. I struggle as an entertainer to understand why these politicians don't get the world we're now living in and are not campaigning effectively to that.
Well, even Brett Baer said he thought that she was thinking she was going to get some sort of awesome sound clip that she could turn into an ad and play over and over again.
Then just do the sound clip.
Yeah.
I mean, you're okay.
Put it out there.
Brett Baer is not a known quantity. The average person walking down this was not the debate with Trump where you would get that. You're talking to a nightly news anchor. This is not some partisan, whatever. It's not Tucker Carlson. It's not Sean Hannity. Okay, hey, 10 billion people are watching that. Kamala's going on Hannity. Oh man, this is not that. I don't. Somebody said this on Twitter, and they're right. They would have been way better off just hiding her in the basement like
they did with Joe Biden.
Like Joe Biden, and daring the mainstream media to turn against them.
So there's no such thing as bad publicity, because now we're talking about her today.
But there is in politics. There is in politics when the expectation, this is why Trump gets away with it, because the expectation with some people is they're so out there that no matter what they do, it is in some box of normalcy. It is in some box of regular behavior, and so they don't get judged. She tries to present herself as this distinguished, professional, great thinker.
And that's what people on Twitter were saying about how she performed during that interview. Oh, that was great. She bossed up.
Her people were saying that.
Right.
But the problem is when those people are not the ones that are deciding this election, right? And so when you present yourself as I'm better than this guy, then when you behave basically kind of like that guy behaved, people are like, boy, what happened to her? She really melted down on that interview. I'm just amazed at how these political people just don't seem to grasp the world they're living in. It is beyond me.
My favorite part of the entire interview was, when Brett Baer, she said, "You know what I'm saying," and he said, "No, I don't. Explain it to me. What do you mean?" "You know what I mean." "No, I don't. What do you mean?" And then she had a hard time even explaining herself. But then when he was asking her, she kept saying, Donald Trump is unstable. And then Brett Baer said, "Okay, when did you first notice a decline in Joe Biden?"
Right.
She had no idea that question was coming. Like, the look in her eyes, zoinks.
Right. And it goes back to how we started the show today. This interview with Brett Baer was another phenomenal example of how the left cannot exist. It cannot thrive without full and complicit coordination from the mainstream national media. He didn't ask her any gotcha questions. He didn't do anything that was out of bounds. He asked her basic questions and follow-up questions related to someone who is running for president, and she imploded. You can't get any more obvious than that. All right, Casey. When we come back, as usual, everything in life turns into being about me. And now this governor's race has turned into being about me.
I'm supporting you today so much so that I'm wearing the I Love Rob Kendall t-shirt.
Somehow, some other guy's fiscal choices, financial choices from years ago has turned into my fault. And I just hate it when everything becomes about me, Casey, including the governor's race in the state of Indiana.
Sure you do. We're going to talk about that next on 93 WIBC.
As the summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-262-1104 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-262-1104. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Is it going in the right direction or the wrong one? Radar is clear. It's sunny and 35 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Vice President Harris interviewed by Fox News last night.
Vice President Kamala Harris was pressed on polling that shows the majority of voters believe the country is on the wrong track during her first sit-down interview with Fox News.
Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
Bret Baier says he had to abruptly stop the interview after the vice president's team was telling him to wrap it up.
Fox's Brooks Singman. Onlookers in Buenos Aires on Wednesday had gathered outside a hotel where former One Direction band member Liam Payne died when he fell off a high-rise balcony. Tributes pouring in all across social media, with fans and fellow artists expressing disbelief and grief. The exact circumstances around his death are still unclear. Your opening bell report on 93 WYBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Some better than expected economic data has the stock surging. The Dow was up 154 to 43,231. The Nasdaq is up 166 to 18,533. And the S&P 500 is up 32 to 5,875. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything, from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-0198. That's 800-291-0198. 800-291-0198.
Are you a translator for your spouse? Are you the one always on the telephone because your husband or wife struggled to hear? You need to check out RelayIndiana.com and CapTel, the captioned telephone. The CapTel phone allows the hard of hearing person to enjoy conversations through voice recognition technology, with the other person's words appearing on the easy-to-read screen. Go online to RelayIndiana.com for more information about CapTel and let your spouse enjoy their own phone calls. Visit RelayIndiana.com now.
Pacers Primetime Packs gives you the choice between 2 jam-packed big game ticket packs featuring 5 marquee matchups, including the Lakers and Knicks or the Warriors and Celtics, starting at only $40 per game.
Halliburton will have to hurry. A long three is good.
You'll also score a bonus 6-game free Pacers playoff pre-sale access and a post-game player experience.
Turner with the dunk. Give him one for that.
Pacers Primetime Packs are available only for a limited time. Select your pack at pacers.com/primetime.
If you are a single or widowed woman, well, the statistics aren't very pretty. You run into a far greater risk of running out of money in retirement than any man or married couple. Hello there, it's Terry Stacy, and the last thing you want to be is 80 years old, full of life, and flat broke. Discover the strategies that could ensure you never run out of money in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy. I know Bill and I trust Bill, and I'm so thankful that he was able to help my mom too. I don't put my name on any random Joe, but I'm here to say you can count on Bill Demery. Call Bill at 317-349-5212. That's 317-349-5212. 317-349-5212. Call Bill right now.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Casey.
Rob.
Things, everything.
Yeah.
It just ends up being all about me.
Well, everything's your fault, isn't it?
Things I have nothing to do with, things I'm not a part of. But somehow now, Casey, the Indiana governor's race is becoming all about me. And some guys' fiscal and financial choices from years ago are now somehow my fault.
We talked a little bit about this yesterday, how there was a mailer that was sent out, and it was sent out from the Indiana Republican State Committee, and it was an attack mailer against Donald Rainwater.
Right.
And we had asked Donald Rainwater if he wanted to come on the show with us.
So basically what this mailer laid out was issues related to, and we're just doing very high level here. Do you want to read it? Do you have it? Do you have
I do have it.
You want to read it?
Yeah, it just says failing to pay child support, held in contempt by a judge, losing custody of his child, perennial loser and deadbeat dad. Donald Rainwater is an embarrassment.
Okay, so you and I had said that we thought the editorializing was a little over the top, but we looked on the state website, state My Case website, and it appeared everything in the ad said related to those things appeared factually accurate. And so what we had said was, let's invite Don on the show. For 5 years, Don has sprinted to this radio program at every opportunity. We've always been very fair with Don, up to and including when the TV station kicked him off the debate stage for his terrible polling average.
Yeah, we gave him an hour.
We gave him a forum when nobody else would do that. And for the first time, so I said, I want you to do it, Casey, because we want to present this as a professional opportunity, not Don, who's been, I would call Don a friend over the years. And you reached out to Don. I gave you his contact information. And
nothing. Crickets. No response. Here's the thing. Even Greg Doyle responded to us.
That's right. Even Greg Doyle
said no thanks.
So that's a giant red flag that when Don felt there was something to be gained by coming on this program.
He was right here.
Yeah. And then when we're saying, hey, we just want to know what the truth is, and you'll get a fair shake here. Now, we're not going to let you bullcrap people, but we're going to give you a fair shake, to be honest. And about this same time, my life is like, remember in the X-Files where people just slide things under Mulder's door? That is my life, except it's electronically now, right? Like it's not the...
Here's something that might pique your interest.
At about that time. So we had said, look, we'll give Don an opportunity to respond publicly, come on the show. We're not going to weigh in on this yet. And about that same time, something showed up in my inbox, which was the basis, the document that citing...
That mailer was based on.
Right. And citing, these were all things that were available to the public. There was these people want to know, here, look, this is publicly available. There's no underhandedness. Here's the site, the resources, everything, so that you can see this for yourself. So we keep trying to get Don on the show. You'd reached out. I had been on his social media telling people, hey, we'd love to have him on. I was not going to message Don directly, though, because it's half your show. You are just as important on the show as I am. Even when we had Braun on, you were the one who had reached out to Braun. So Don knows he can respond to you and get through. And I'm not like one-upping you to say, well, you won't respond to Casey. Maybe you'll respond to me.
No, I'm the one who scheduled Mike Braun. I'm the one who scheduled Jennifer McCormick. So
right, exactly. So then I find out not only will he not respond to you, but he's going to go on a podcast.
Yeah,
and it's going to be a friendly podcast. So I said, all right. I'm going to watch this podcast tonight and see, because now I have the information. I know the facts. I know what this is actually about, and I'm going to see if Don will be honest, because this is, and you have seen the document. So you will back me up when this is about much more than just some guy who got down on his luck, who lost a job for a brief period of time, and then got behind on some child support payments, and then quickly made it up, and then everybody was whole, right?
Yeah.
That is a small part of this that did appear to happen at some point. But you are talking what appears to be fiscal mismanagement and poor choices for years and years and years, and things that appear to be in no way related to losing a job or in no way related to, hey, my marriage, fell apart. We're talking years and years and years of this pattern of behavior.
And why does that matter?
And this is the most important thing, because people say, well, this is dirty pool. These people went after Don. No, it matters because Don Rainwater, of his own choice and volition, has chosen to make fiscal management of the state of Indiana a central part of his campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't disagree with him when he says the state has been horribly managed by Eric Holcomb and the Republicans. No dispute on that whatsoever. But when you come out and say, this is bad and I will do it better, and unlike a Mike Braun or even Jennifer McCormick, he doesn't have a public legislative record to operate off of.
Something that you can look back at and say, oh, okay, well, he did this, this, and this, so we can assume he's going to do this.
Because he keeps running and losing, so we don't have anything to judge him off of. So the only thing you can do, and look, they did this with Trump, and it was totally fair game when they did this with Trump, because Trump had never been an elected official.
Right.
All you have to go off of when a guy's talking about the economy or taxes or jobs or whatever is how have they lived their life? What have they done? And so the fiscal actions or lack of fiscal responsibility or poor fiscal choices, or however you want to word it, by Donald Rainwater over many, many years, to me is totally fair game, because he has made that a central reason of why you should vote for him. And I'm paraphrasing here, but many years ago, Babe Ruth's dream was to manage a Major League Baseball team. Even more so than even be a great baseball player, he desperately wanted to manage a Major League Baseball team. And he desperately wanted to manage the New York Yankees. And there's this famous quote from the owner of the New York Yankees, and I'm paraphrasing here, I'm not getting it right. But he said, how could I let someone manage others who can't even manage himself?
Right.
And he was talking about Babe Ruth's, erratic behavior and being out partying. And he said, I can't put you in charge of a baseball to other men when you can't even manage yourself. So for those people, and we're not going to get into the intricacies of what's in this document, because I like Don and consider Don a friend, but if Don wants to push it, we'll do it. And we'd be here for 3 hours, Casey. You've read this document. That's how long the financial transgressions over a decade or more of Donald Rainwater are. I don't want to do that. But what set me off is, first of all, he dodges us for the first time in 5 years. That's a red flag.
Well, it's not to his benefit. That's why.
Then he goes on this podcast, and the podcast, instead of Don being honest about what happened, being transparent about what happened, he goes on, he deflects. He has a host that is helping him do this, right? The host is not asking, maybe hasn't seen the document, hasn't done any research on my case, I don't know. But the host is not really asking any pertinent, like questions that would be relevant to why the ad was actually run. And then the conversation devolves, I guess is the word that we would use, into hating on Rob Kendall.
Yeah, this became your fault, which is really interesting. So why does this matter to you? Well, this is somebody who wants your vote. He wants to manage and govern over 7 million people in the state of Indiana. And when you have no voting record to look back on, you have to look back on how he manages his own finances. And when those are a disaster, you have to assume that he's not going to be able to manage the state's finances.
And here's the other part of this. He's running to be governor of the state of Indiana. He's not running to be the surveyor.
Right. This is the big boy. This is big time, right?
And Don is a grenade thrower, which is fine. It's part of why I like Don. Don brings the heat, and that's great. But if you are going to poke the snake repeatedly, if the snake is rattling at you, you ever seen a rattlesnake, right? Like where it coils up and you keep poking it with the stick, what's it going to do?
Yeah.
Eventually it's going to bite you. And I feel bad if Don went through some hard times in his life, but Casey, you've seen the document. When you read the actual document of what was used for, look, the Republicans were nice to him. I'm shocked it wasn't worse. I think, now the editorializing, Debbie, I wouldn't have done that. But in terms of actually how has this guy managed his finances, it's awful. It's awful, and it's fair game Politics is an adult contact sport. You're running to be able to make decisions for 7 million people. When every day it seems like the Indy Star writes something horrific about Micah. Was Rainwater running to a podium going, whoa, this is dirty pool here, guys. Hey, that should be off. No, he loved it because it was helping him. So don't give me this, I'm a victim stuff. You're running to be the governor of the state of Indiana. You stand on a stage with these people. You tell them they suck. You tell people you can do a better job than they can. Then your choices become, your public choices, which all of this is fair game.
He wanted to respond. He just did not want to respond at a level where people might actually hear him, like coming on this program.
Right.
And you know what? So Jim and I were talking about this last night, and Jim made a comment that, well, he was probably blindsided by this because it happened long ago in the past. You want to run the state of Indiana, guess what? You have to know that they're going to dig up everything about you. And why is he only coming out and responding about it now?
Exactly.
He should have been honest from the get-go.
Right. And so, by the way, for you people who want to go out there and say, oh, they're only doing it because the race is not close. Okay, just trust me on this. Mm-hmm. The race is not close. They're not doing it because
it's not because they're scared.
Right. This is being done because Don has repeatedly publicly called people out, which is fine. It's great. But let me tell you a little bit about financial choices and how sometimes you got to make hard choices, all right? In 2008, I had a very successful online streaming company, and I chose to use some of the money I'd made from that to buy a radio station. And I bought that radio station like 2 months before the financial collapse. Casey will back me up on this. How'd radio do during the financial collapse, Casey?
Not so good. Not so good.
So I had just bought a radio station in another state.
Yeah.
During arguably the greatest financial collapse in our nation's history. Mm-hmm. I could have said, well, boy, that sucks, and started screwing over my employees or my vendors or the people in the community. You know what I did, Casey?
Pulled up your bootstraps, got to work.
I went down there and turned because we couldn't afford an apartment, I turned the back of the radio station into a house. Do you know how much it sucks to live in the back of a radio station? I was able to give the lease of my apartment here at the time to someone else. And when I was here, I was back at my dad's house. Boy, you think that's socially fun? You think that's a great life? No, of course not. The point of all this is people get hit with crap all the time. Mm-hmm. People get hit with awful things all the time. And the idea that you are going to lay these horrible financial choices, which if Don wants to push it, we'll get into it tomorrow and I'll start reading all of them. If Don wants to keep this crap up, that somehow his mistakes are my fault, I'll be happy to read them. But the idea that Don is blaming a decade of horrible choices on the fact that he lost a job for a brief period of time or trying to deflect or not be honest with people, that's gross, and that's why we're doing this today. If Don had just come clean, if he had just been honest, we wouldn't be doing this, and we gave him every opportunity to do it.
Okay, so why did the Indiana Republican State Committee decide to put out that ad? You know what? We're going to ask somebody.
Yeah, Mike is going to join us at the top of next hour.
Yeah,
and we'll ask him: should you guys be ashamed of that? Is it dirty pool? Do you want to apologize for anything?
Yeah, we'll see what he has to say coming up. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Are you sitting down this afternoon at 3:06? Hammer and Nigel, one show together. Let's go!
Fall in Indy is great, but don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Don did. He called Rhino Shield.
Well, the home was built in 1948. Paint on the aluminum siding was peeling, and I couldn't find anyone who would repaint it until I called Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's better than paint, and the crew
painted all my aluminum siding, and I've got a front porch that runs the whole length of the house and all the pillars, and once they were gone, I couldn't even tell that they were there.
And right now, Indy, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
Well, I've told a lot of people, do the Rhino Shield. It's really a great product, and that would be the way to go.
And here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Jennifer McCormick backed Hillary Clinton for president. And when McCormick was in charge of education in Indiana, our schools ranked at the bottom. She even opposed school choice. Then McCormick backed Joe Biden for president and supported his trillion-dollar spending scheme that caused all the inflation. Now she runs for governor on a plan that would increase your energy bills, create a new office of environmental justice, and ban gas stoves. Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal.
This is Mike Braun. Here's my plan for Indiana. I'll enforce immigration laws even when the federal government fails to act, keeping our streets safe and secure. And my plan lowers more costs. I'll cut property taxes, reduce energy bills, and expand parental choice and school voucher programs. Indiana needs strong leadership. We can get it done.
Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Looking for a great deal on a new Lincoln? Come to Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator and get a $4,000 discount. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. We look forward to seeing you at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock L24401, MSRP 107425. Stock L24284, MSRP 43435. See dealer for complete details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you see him talking?
Who?
Joe Biden and Barack Obama.
Oh, jeez.
Wouldn't you have loved to have been a lip reader at that point to see what they were saying?
Jeez.
They were at the memorial for Ethel Kennedy in Washington, D.C., and it looked like things were a little tense there for a few seconds. Barack Obama, Joe Biden talking, whispering about something.
Well, if you're Obama, I mean, you got to just be looking around going, oh, you people are all just the worst. Like, why am I the only guy who can come off as normal and win elections and hold on to power around here?
Another thing that happened was that Bill Clinton was giving part of the eulogy for Ethel Kennedy, and he said the oddest thing. I mean, I guess it wasn't odd for Bill Clinton, but it was odd for a eulogy, right? Take a listen.
To all of you who were gathered here, I was trying to think of whether I could say anything that would add to what others have said. And I doubt that I can, but I will tell you this. I thought your mother was the cat's meow. She would flirt with me in the most innocent ways.
Always. Yeah. That guy has not changed. Everybody has to be in love with him, and he's in love with everyone.
So, I mean, it used to be endearing, though, right? When he was when he was, young, hey, I'm in my 40s or even 50s, Bill Clinton. That just sounds awful. The way he sounds and saying that is awful.
In front of the whole family at a eulogy. I mean, I was he trying to be sweet about it and, inject a little bit of levity into the situation? I mean, these people are mourning, and he's talking about how she would flirt with him.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought about who you want to give the eulogy at your funeral? Have you ever thought about that?
Oh, my gosh.
Like, who's it going to be?
You. You know why? Because you'll be honest. You'll say the things in my death that you would say during my life. Okay?
Oh, that's great stuff.
Hopefully that's a good 30, 40 years down the road.
That's
so
great
keep
stuff.
that in mind.
That's freaking awesome.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369.
Indiana has nearly 2,800 pig farmers and ranks 5th in the country in pork production. Hoosier pig farmers are raising some of the finest pork in the nation. October is National Pork Month. From family farms to innovative operations, Indiana's pig farmers are committed to quality and sustainability, all while providing your family pork that's packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals that are good for you. So the next time you're at the grocery store or your favorite restaurant, make pork your choice and celebrate Indiana pig farmers.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for detail.
Did you know every 3 seconds someone is a victim of identity theft? LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity this Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Adding multi-factor authentication, like a text with a security code, is one way to boost your security. But for comprehensive protection, trust LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal info and steps in to resolve issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect yourself with a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
You know we're in trouble. Corruption, division, inflation, debt, financial collapse, human traffic, maybe World War III. We need change, but you won't get that from the crony puppet show we keep re-electing. Look at campaign donations. You'll see why Democrats and Republicans can't even talk about corruption with a straight face. Hi, I'm Andy Horning, author of Relighting the Torch, HorningForSenate.com, and the Libertarian candidate for U.S. Senate. Your vote is not a poker chip for a game of money and odds. It is a weapon of peaceful revolution, and God knows we need that right now. Paid for by Hornick for Senate, Candy Miller, Treasurer.
Coming up in 2 minutes, where a shooting left a woman dead overnight. Plus, the jury is seated. Now it's time to swear them in. And IU's head football coach is not allowing his team to get comfy as they go through a historic run. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Has Israel taken out another terror leader? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what the Israeli military is trying to determine after 3 Hamas militants were killed in an operation in Gaza. After another strike left at least 15 dead, targeting a school-turned-civilian shelter that Israelis say Hamas uses as a command center. Fox's Matt Finn reports from Tel Aviv. The Hamas leader targeted was
Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas and the so-called mastermind of the October 7th attacks. This is something that Israel has been a person that Israel has been trying to get since the very beginning.
And so the U.S. has also gone on the attack in Yemen, targeting weapons stored by Iran-backed Houthi militants.
A senior U.S. official tells Fox these airstrikes were a response to the Houthis' year-long destabilizing behavior. Houthi fighters have launched at least 270 attacks on military and commercial ships in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden since last November.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Biden's on his way to Germany for talks with our NATO ally on further helping Ukraine battle Russia's invasion. For the first time since Vice President Harris replaced Biden in the 2024 White House race, former President Trump has taken the lead in a new Fox News poll ahead of Harris by 2 points.
My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency.
The vice president told Fox's Brett Baer she intends to
turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump.
And pressed on record illegal immigration, Harris said,
we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
Reacting to that, Trump running mate J.D. Vance told Fox this morning,
admit it. Admit that you guys screwed up and change course. Don't blame it on Congress because you guys refuse to do your job.
An independent panel investigating the first Trump assassination attempt at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania that left the former president's right ear bloody says the Secret Service needs fundamental reform, citing communications failures, and without major changes, another Butler cannon will happen again. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Words and then bullets. Radar is clear. Sunny and 39 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. A woman shot to death on the west side of Indy. It happened in a parking lot at a Red Roof Inn along Lyndhurst Drive shortly after 9 o'clock. IMPD believes an argument between the woman and someone else is what led to the shots being fired.
Stop trying to work out your differences with violence. If you're having problems, turn and walk away. It's much better to talk it out.
Captain Don Weilhammer, the woman ID'd as Chastity Hahn. The 12 jurors and 5 alternates will be sworn in today ahead of the beginning of the Delphi murders trial. Richard Allen is the man accused of murdering Abby Williams and Libby Sherman. Once the jury is sworn in, they'll be sequestered and then taken to Carroll County, where the trial is expected to last well into November. Blackmail can happen fast, especially to children. Ryan Hedrick reports.
This is modern-day blackmail called sextortion. If your child has an online profile, they could be tricked into sending a nude photo to a stranger who could then share it if their demands aren't met. And usually kids aren't willing to talk about it with their parents.
Mostly because they're afraid they're going to get in trouble. They're afraid they're going to have their accounts shut down or their phone taken away from them.
Catherine Siegfried Speller is a professor at Purdue University's Polytechnic Institute. She says you should talk to your kids about this. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
2 more former IU basketball players say that they were sexually abused by a former team doctor. Haris Mujizinovic as well as Charlie Miller are both joining a lawsuit against IU. They both claim that Dr. Brad Bamba performed unnecessary prostate and rectal exams on them in the 1990s. IU head football coach Kurt Signetti staying candid as always as his team looks to move to 7-0 this weekend.
There's no warm fuzzies. Everybody understands they got to respect the process because, you know, they're all hero right now. But you don't respect the process and prepare the way you got to be to prepare to be the best you can be on Saturday, you'll be a bum next week.
Signetti on the Pat McAfee Show. Indiana at home against Nebraska Saturday afternoon in front of a sellout crowd. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. You've been waiting. Now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving prices down. Maximize your home sale now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietel. Perhaps you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Ray in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietel. I needed to move in a hurry, so I was out the door into a new home, but left with the big problem of selling my old home with 2 mortgage payments fast approaching. I heard Mark Dietel was the answer, and I heard right. I was ecstatic when Mark sold my home for the price I needed in 2 days on the market. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard Air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, October 17th. It's 6 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob, it was a busy day yesterday, not only in people's mailboxes, but on the internet and on a certain YouTube channel.
Casey, welcome to my life. What I mean by that is only in my life could a race for governor that I'm not a candidate in, that I'm not interested in being a candidate in, that I've never tried to be a candidate in, somehow I become the focal point of the race, and people are getting mad at me for things that they did.
That's right. So we're talking about that mailer that came out in regards to Don Rainwater. It was put out by the Indiana State Committee, the Republican Party, and they were bringing up some things from his past. And later in the evening, we did invite him to come on our show to address it.
Right. That mailer came out yesterday, and we talked about this in the first hour. You reached out to him. For the first time in 5 years. We did not get a response from Donald Rainwater. I was on his social media pointing out, hey, we've invited him to come on. Got no response. And then he goes on this podcast last night, and instead of just owning what took place. I mean, look, they're trying to paint it as it was some guy down on his luck who lost a job. And that did happen, it appears, at some point. But this is a laundry list of stuff. Much of it appears, now you don't know for sure because he won't come clean and own it, but much of it having nothing to do with the guy who went through a divorce or lost his job. It appears to be years upon years of bad fiscal management, of bad fiscal choices, and it becomes relevant because the guy doesn't have a voting record. So all we as voters have to operate off of is how did you manage your life, your finances, the choices you made. And Rainwater goes on this podcast, and instead of just coming clean about it, he deflects, he plays victim, he tries to tell this sob story, and then most of the show, it seems like they launch into this thing about me.
So this is somebody who wants to be responsible for 7 million people in the state of Indiana. And we want to know, if you can't be responsible for your own finances, how are you going to govern over the state's finances? And then you're the problem?
It's always all about me, right?
That's so weird.
Anyway, so joining us down the WIBC hotline, let's get the other side of things. He is the Republican nominee for Lieutenant Governor. Micah Beckwith joins us now. All right, Beckwith, as usual, people are mean to me for something I had absolutely nothing to do with.
I'm laughing because I think it's awesome.
Oh, well, thank you for your sympathy. I really appreciate that. I mean, look, here, we talked about this in the first hour. Don Rainwater has made fiscal management of the state of Indiana a central part of his campaign. He doesn't have a voting record by which you can judge him on. So the only thing you can go on is his own fiscal management. And then when you're presented with this stuff, to not only not explain it, to deflect it, to play victim on it, and then blame the radio guy, that isn't exactly owning your baggage. It's not exactly
owning up to the public or holding yourself accountable to say the way you say you want to the taxpayers if you're elected.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good point. I mean, we've got to know who our candidates are. I mean, when I ran, I knew that I was going to get scrutinized. Every little aspect of my life, personal life, private life, public life was going to be scrutinized. And that's what you sign up for when you run for office. Now, I like Don. Don and I appreciate what he did in 2020. He's holding Republicans accountable. We need that. But, Don has run for Senate. He's run for mayor. He's run for governor now twice. And each this is a different election. 2024 is not 2020, and Mike Braun is not Eric Holcomb. And Don keeps taking shots at Eric. He keeps taking shots at the Republican Party. And trust me, I have taken shots at the Republican Party. It's appropriate time to do that. There is always a place to hold people accountable. However, he keeps throwing punches, and at some point, now I'm not for the low blow tactics. This is not something that the state party ran by me, but at some point, you're going to get punched back. I mean, if you're going to be in the ring and you're going to start throwing stones in the glass house, well, just be ready when that house starts to crumble, around you.
Yeah, and look, as we talked about the first hour, Casey's seen the documentation that was used for those ads. I think their state party was actually really nice to Rainwater. The ads they could have run, and maybe they will, I don't know, but the idea to say, wait a second, my own fiscal choices over a decade or more aren't fair game when I'm running on, the Republicans have screwed everything up fiscally, which he's not wrong about, but the idea of you saying, I'm going to fix it, and then offering no explanation and deflecting and going after the radio guy when people say, well, what about this? That doesn't give me any confidence that you're going to be some guy who's going to deliver results.
Well, I think that's a good point. And why is it just now coming out? Now, this is the first time I've heard about it. When it dropped yesterday, I hadn't seen any of, no one ran anything past me. No one told me, hey, this is what's coming. And so I didn't know that about Don. And so I see all of this come out. I'm like, man, this guy has been, holier than thou when it comes to fiscal management. And now, where has this been? If I would have been running for Senate and then mayor and then governor twice, I would have put this kind of stuff out years ago to let Indiana know, say, hey, I made mistakes. This isn't my, I've changed. I'm certainly asking for your vote. I will do better. But just so you know, I have made mistakes, but I've learned from those mistakes. I mean, we have a lot of grace. People have grace. It's not, we don't want to crucify people for past mistakes, but at the same time, I'm questioning, why is this just now coming out? And why hasn't Don and the Libertarians, why haven't they been more forthright? Because they certainly want to criticize Republicans on their fiscal mismanagement. So it's very hypocritical to criticize them while you yourself personally are not doing a good job.
Micah, just about an hour ago, he did post online that he takes full responsibility for every mistake that he's made in his life, and he said that he's gained invaluable life experience. And you're saying, had he come out and put this out to everybody before, it would be a non-issue now.
That's right. And that's the thing. It's why is this just now coming out? It's not like Don's a newcomer to the scene. It's not like Don is a newcomer to, going after Republicans for fiscal mismanagement. And so that's my issue is I don't like the fact that politics is a dirty sport and a blood sport, but it is. And people need to know, they have a right to know who they're voting for. And so for me, this is just one of those times where people have also said to me, they said, well, why is the Republican Party punching down, right? Why are you going after a guy that we're really running against the Democrats? The Libertarians are sort of a non-issue. And I don't think it has anything to do with the Republicans are afraid of, the numbers or anything like that. We've seen the polling. Polling is looking strong. Yeah, I think it's really just, here's a guy that's been throwing punches time and time again at Mike Braun, trying to label him that he's another Eric Holcomb. And I think the state party just got tired of it and said, okay, fine, man. If you want to keep throwing punches, we're going to punch back. And I actually think that's good leadership. At some point, you gotta start hitting back. And so we've got some Republicans in leadership now, finally, that will hit back when they're punched.
That's what I was going to ask you, that, why did the state party decide to do this? But I think you answered that. Micah, you're no stranger to being attacked like this. People come after you on a daily basis. They bring your family into it as well. Do you think that this is fair play on your party's part to now go after Rainwater?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is fair play in any party's their direction because and I'm not saying I like it, but it is, all's fair in love and war, right? That's what that, old adage is. And I do think when you're running for office, you know what you're getting into and you're going to be scrutinized. They say every skeleton you have will come to light if you run for office. And so I knew that getting into it. And you know what? I've been treated totally unfairly by the mainstream media in Indianapolis. And yeah, I don't go out there and play a victim card. I don't say, oh, woe is me. I say, they're wrong. They're liars. And I hit them back, and I'm ready to do that. And so, but this is when you sign up for politics. This is what you get. And by the way, when you sign up to be a radio host, Rob, this is what top one about it.
Well, that's my question. How do I get roped into all this? I'm not running for anything. I don't gain anything either way. I'm just a guy that comments on the news.
Hey, great. You're very influential, and everyone knows it.
Oh,
and
thank you.
There you go. And then, but you know what's fun? Casey still comes out smelling like roses.
Yeah, she's the half of this show. And Rainwater, Rob Kendall this and Rob Kendall that. It's like, wait a second.
See how I do that?
There's a question here. Come on. All right. So, hey, real quick, you and this is. I can't believe you have arranged this, but old Uncle Fester of the GOP, Rob Kendall, is going to be at a big GOP shindig get together with a whole bunch of dignitaries. What are we doing?
So October 22nd, we've got that fundraiser that's going on, and we'd like to open it up for the public if you want to come. It's in Hamilton County at the fairgrounds. We've got Elise Nushala is going to be there. Daniel Elliott's going to be there. You've got guys like Jeff Cardwell, they'll be there, and then others, and so just coming out to show unity within the party, and come on out. It's not a big dollar fundraiser. People have also said, oh, Micah's doing his own fundraiser. This was talked about months ago with the Braun team, and they said, yeah, get out there, raise money, and get money for your expenses that you're going to be traveling the state. You're going to be buying shirts and giving out stuff to the grassroots, and so this was I think people are trying to make it into something like, oh, Mike is doing his own fundraiser, and there's separation between him and the Braun team. That's not even close to being true. They encourage that, so this is what it is. But I do think it'll bring a lot of party unity. Having you there, having some of these GOP leaders there, I think it shows, hey, we're on the same team and we can link arms and move in the same direction.
Yeah, for the record, I invited Casey to come with me. You declined. You had better things to do.
Well, yeah, you know what, Micah, I don't know if Rob told you, my daughter is having a medical procedure.
Oh, here we go.
So I'm going to be with my child. I am putting family first, which I think you would agree is the right move.
I 100% agree, Casey, and you were our first choice. Rob was the second. So that's how it went down.
Yeah. All right, so I'll pin that. I'll put that up at Rob M. Kendall on Twitter. They decided, hey, we got some dignitaries here, but we need somebody to get up there and bring a fastball. So I'm going to get up there and be like the Rodney Dangerfield and Caddyshack of the organization. And
for the record, Micah, I would definitely have been there had this thing not been on the same date. So I appreciate the invite, and I would be there to totally support you. I will be there in spirit, okay?
Thank you so much, Casey. We love you and appreciate you. And Rob, we like you and sort of appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, Micah Beckwith, thank you. You're something. Thank you, Casey. Take us to break.
All right, thanks, Micah. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
More American defense for Israel.
93 WIBC.
Add ballistic missile defense battery.
Hear the news.
2 candidates running for Indiana Attorney General.
They're data mining you if you're an adult, and they're corrupting your kids.
Todd Rokita wants to do away with TikTok. Democrat candidate Destiny Wells.
We need better leadership in the office.
Another news update is minutes away.
Jury selection in the Delphi double murders case will take 3 days.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Hoosiers need a fighter to protect our jobs and our values. I'm Todd Rokita, your Attorney General. I fight for you, and together we win. Suing Biden because he's opened the border to illegals who are killing us, harming our kids, and driving up our taxes. Stopping federal bureaucrats who kill jobs and jack up our electricity prices with their failed Green New Deal that does nothing for our air and water. Keeping criminals behind bars where they belong. Recovering millions of dollars from welfare theft, fraud, and from opioid drug manufacturers, all to protect your health and your tax dollars. Creating the Parents' Bill of Rights so you can protect our kids from those trying to corrupt them while you're at work. Successfully keeping boys from competing in girls' sports and defending, of course, our pro-life values. and the Gun Owner's Bill of Rights so you can defend yourself and your family. I'm Todd Rokita, and with your vote this November, we'll keep fighting and winning together. Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Indianapolis, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Did you know every 3 seconds someone is a victim of identity theft? LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity this Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Adding multi-factor authentication, like a text with a security code, is one way to boost your security. But for comprehensive protection, trust LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal info and steps in to resolve issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect yourself with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Is your pet a digging enthusiast, an escape artist, or a counter surfer? Invisible Fence brand has you covered. For the wannabe landscaper, we've got a solution to keep them active but not destructive. For the escape artist, our personalized pet fences keep them safe and sound at home. Counter surfer? No problem. We know how to keep cheese thieves at bay. Invisible Fence brand. Tailor-made solutions for your pet, your yard, and your needs. Visit invisiblefence.com today.
There is still time to get a patio this fall with Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts. No subcontractors ever. Big enough to service, small enough to care.
Wow.
I know. Here we go again. Law enforcement agencies are investigating misconduct allegations against Thomas Carl Cook. This is Hogsett's former chief of staff.
Okay, so Indy star Haley Colombo, we've had her on this show before. She wrote that initial piece along with James Briggs that kind of broke the Thomas Carl Cook allegations story. Now, I assume at this point everybody knows this, but just for those of you who don't. So Thomas Carl Cook, he goes by multiple names, right? Was the mayor's number 2, Joe Hogsett, for much of his first 2 terms. He was the architect, many people say, of the campaigns. And then the Indy Star, along with Mirror Indy, produced these very well-written pieces in which women who agreed to be named gave very detailed accounts of inappropriate behavior and manipulation by Thomas Carl Cook in and around and involving the workplace. Now, Thomas Carl Cook left the mayor's office, what was it, 2020? And then got a cushy job at a local law firm, and then was brought back in 2023 to run Hogsett's re-election campaign, the third campaign. And the problem with there's many problems with this, but first of all, the women have provided evidence. Hogsett was aware in the build-up to 2020, his departure of 2020, of what Thomas Carl Cook was alleged to have done. They had presented the evidence. It appears no action was taken whatsoever by Joe Hogsett. And then certainly Hogsett, if he was aware in 2020 when Thomas Carl Cook left, he would have been aware in 2023 when he brought him back to run the campaign. So that's where we are now. Thomas Cook has essentially disappeared. He's a ghost now. Nobody knows where he's at or what he's doing. He left that law firm, is my understanding. And now it looks like the state police are getting involved.
Yeah, it's being reported that the state police detectives, they've reviewed potential evidence and interviewed multiple people about Cook in coordination with Marion County Prosecutor's Office. And it's not clear if Hogsett's administration is participating in this investigation.
So keep in mind, the city of Indianapolis, the taxpayers of the city of Indianapolis are going to be on the hook for, who knows what the final legal bill will be, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars for this out-of-state law firm to conduct this investigation into what Hogsett knew and when. Now, this enrages me because this is pretty simple. These lawmakers, these city, county council people have the ability to get this information. They have the ability to get information the public doesn't. This should be pretty cut and dry. Joe Hogsett,
produce the emails that show, because Hogsett claims there was an investigation. He's produced no evidence of an investigation.
Right.
Produce the texts, produce the emails, produce all the documentation related to this investigation. Who did it? How much did it cost us? When was it done? Who was put in charge? When was this voted on? When did this happen? They don't need an out-of-state law firm, because either you believe these women's claims enough to do this on your own at zero cost to the taxpayers other than what you're making, or you don't. I mean, their evidence is very detailed. They provided audio evidence. They provided emails. I mean, these pieces, and nobody stood up and refuted it. It's not like Hogsett or Cook have been like, oh, they're totally lying. That would never. I mean, so why are we spending all of this money when you guys could just do the investigation on your own?
So what happens next? Well, it remains to be seen if charges are going to be brought as a result from this investigation. Sexual assault crimes in Indiana have a 5-year statute of limitations. There are some exceptions. So this means that the prosecution is going to have to do something within 5 years, and the alleged assault by Cook happened in 2019. So we're walking right up to that timeline.
Well, and so there's the story and then the other story, right? So it's like the Jamie Knoll thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Knoll's a scumbag. Everybody knows he's a scumbag. Everybody knew, believed, confirmed he was a criminal. He is. He admitted it. The story, though, is what did the governor know? His best friend, his closest political ally. We're never going to get that answer. Thomas Carl Cook, sleazeball. We've been telling people for years with this guy. But isn't it amazing how often we're right? Isn't that amazing? We have been on this radio station long before any of this talk came out talking about what a complete horrible person that guy was, and nobody would listen. When it was all fun and games for him, when the city was in horrible shape, and that famous photo of him flipping the camera off while Joe Hogsett's eating pizza. Oh, the media didn't want to touch it then. Isn't it amazing how often we're proven right? Now, the story here, though, is Thomas Carl Cook knows where Joe Hogsett was during the riots.
Mm-hmm.
He knows. He is the guy with all the dirt, and we all know the rumors that have been out there for years about Hogsett. And Thomas Carl Cook knows all of it. And so what will be interesting is, like Knoll, is he for some reason just willing to go down with the ship, or is he willing to sing for his supper?
Mm-hmm. So yesterday, Hogsett signed the 25 budget for Indianapolis and also Marion County, $1.6 billion budget. So you often ask where he was during the riots. Here's my question. When's that MLS team coming?
That's sure he's kind of disappeared, hasn't it?
Hasn't it, though?
Isn't that amazing? And isn't this timing interesting? And I'm not saying anything other than the timing is interesting, that the Thomas Carl Cook stuff came out in the wake, in almost the immediate aftermath of the complete breakdown of the relationship with the Indy 11 and this push for an MLS team.
Yeah.
It's wild how. So we got voicemails next?
We do. And we've got a good one to start us off.
Oh, boy.
You're going to love it.
Oh, how exciting.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Looking for a great place to go for car care?
Hi, this is Lonnie Hinkle from Jiffy Lube, and I'd like to share the top 5 reasons that every Hoosier should trust Jiffy Lube to help keep their car running safe and well. Number 5, our computer system holds the maintenance data for every make and model. We know exactly what your car needs and when it needs to be done. Number 4, Jiffy Lube's training system is in the Training Magazine Hall of Fame. Along with companies like Ritz-Carlton, Starbucks, and Nordstrom's, our team does the job right. Number 3, you never need an appointment. We are ready to serve you whenever it works best for you, so come on in and see us. Number 2, Jiffy Lube accepts competitor coupons so you can get our great service at the desperate price of our competitors. And number 1, Jiffy Lube is a one-stop maintenance shop, and we make it easy for you to take great care of your car. Avoid the repair shop by getting your maintenance done at Jiffy Lube. And we now offer brakes, tires, tune-ups, and minor repairs at most stores.
So head to Jiffy Lube. There's really no reason to take your car anywhere else.
Piece of gold, peace of mind. That's why so many concerned Americans are adding gold to their portfolios. At American Bullion, we pioneered a fast and secure gold IRA process and can help you learn about and protect your current IRA or old 401k with the proven value of gold and silver. With dangerously rising unrest around the world, volatility in the economy, and upcoming elections, it's more critical than ever to consider protecting your portfolio with a gold IRA rollover. At American Bullion, our experienced team is here to guide you from A to Z. We do all the heavy lifting so you don't have to. Don't wait. Make the call. Protect your IRA or old 401k with our hassle-free and tax-free process. Call American Bullion today for your free gold guide and learn about all your options. Call 800-456-7475. That's 800-456-7475. 800-456-7475.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Good-looking economic data. It's 42 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Weekly jobless claims are down as fewer Americans than analysts had predicted found themselves seeking first-time unemployment benefits. The Labor Department says it received 241,000 claims in the week ending October 12th. That's 19,000 fewer than the previous week. They also say that consumer spending was higher than expected. Wall Street surging at the moment. An Israeli operation likely killing a trio of Hamas leaders in Gaza.
Today is a Jewish holiday. The streets have been relatively quiet. People have been reflecting across this city. So the news, this information is spreading rather quickly across Tel Aviv. The IDF has released a statement saying the recent strikes in Gaza have killed 3 people, one of them who may include their ultimate goal, Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas and the so-called mastermind of the October 7th attacks.
Fox's Matt Finn. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey guys, it's Rob for We Grow Hair Indie, and if you are looking in the mirror going, ooh, I'm getting a little light on top, now might be a great time to get your hair back, get your confidence back by making a trip to We Grow Hair Indie. So here's how it works. You call today, 317-522-2995, 317-522-2995. Schedule a totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. You go in there, Darren and the gang, top notch, great guys. They'll take a look at what's going on at the top of your head, and then they'll give you some suggestions on what might make that look a little better. And then you make the choice. It's all up to you. And in the meantime, if you'd like to see some of the other folks who went to We Grow Hair Indie and got their confidence back, their hair back, head over to their website, WeGrowHairIndie.com, WeGrowHairIndie.com. And you got to get that ball rolling by the totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation, 317-522-2995. We Grow Hair Indie. Tell them Rob sent you.
Don't want the worry of maintaining your furnace or air conditioner? Join B&W's Premier Club today. Visit bplusw.com/radio to learn more. B&W is your independent American Standard Air dealer.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
Here we go with your voicemails. The phone number, if you'd like to get involved, 317-684-8444. We turn the program over to you with your thoughts. We've been spending a lot of time talking about this mailer that was sent out by the Indiana Republican State Committee. It is against Don Rainwater. And boy, I just saw the back of it for the first time. And that's really something, what's on the back of it.
Yeah. And again, we got into this last hour, getting into this. I mean, it is a news story, right? And he is a on the ballot running for governor. And we've touched on this multiple times. This isn't about
for me, certainly, it isn't about anyone's personal relationships with anyone. Sometimes relationships don't work, and that happens. And that's not what this is about. This is about a litany of financial issues, many of them that have nothing to do with the divorce or child custody, that are on this list of things where a guy who is running for governor around the idea that the state is fiscally being mismanaged. I will come in there and manage it much better than these guys. But your own fiscal house, not some of it, a lot of it appears, and we don't know. That's the problem. He won't address the stuff, right? He puts out these vague statements, but he won't address the actual stuff in the document. He knows what's in the document. It's a train wreck. So if you're going to make fiscal management of the state, like take, for example, let's say I had run for governor, and I would say, hey, I've owned these businesses. I've managed people. I would expect that someone would say, well, let's look into Rob's time owning his businesses for that part of his life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're going to find? Nothing. Paid my employees, paid my taxes. I own businesses. Some of them were super successful. Some of them were not successful. But you know what? When the businesses weren't successful, you know who suffered? Me. My employees didn't go without pay. My vendors didn't go without pay. Talked about, last hour, how when times got hard for me, I moved into the back of a radio station. So if I'm coming out and talking about to manage the state, then it would be totally fair for you to judge how I've managed my finances. If I were behind on my property taxes or, had all sorts of creditors or whatever, then fair game. Don made this the issue. And when you don't have a voting record, then what do you have to look at other than how someone has managed the issue that they're claiming that they can manage it better?
This is somebody who's asking to take care of your house when they can't even take care of their own.
Right, and by all accounts, and this is the problem with Don not answering the question. Don, by all accounts, from what you can see publicly, over the past 15 years, it's been fine. There's nothing that shows up publicly that I have seen that would say he hasn't gotten it together. But you are left to have to decipher this stuff for yourself because he won't address what it was and how bad it actually was and why it happened. And it's clear the problem is when you can start picking apart some parts of it that are easy to pick apart based on statements he's making, well, then what else aren't we being told? But to be clear, this for me is not about a divorce or child custody. It's about a laundry list of bad financial choices that appear to have nothing to do with this and were long after those things had happened, because he's saying he can manage the state better than somebody else.
Here's a phone call regarding this.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to comment on this Don Rainwater story, and I just got to give my 2 cents on it, too. I did see pictures of the mailer originally, and I saw that Rainwater was throwing a fit, and then he proceeded to attack Micah Beckwith. If I'm not mistaken, as far as I know, I think Micah had been nothing but nice to him before, and I'm going to let you guys in on a little something. So I met Mr. Rainwater at the Johnson County Fair. Seemed like a nice guy. I had no issues with him. I know I've been supporting Mike Braun for quite some time now, and I was at the state convention. It was a lot of fun. At the Republican state convention, it was a lot of fun. But in any case, despite that, I still figured I'd at least talk to the Libertarian nominee and at least get to know who he was. Because he was there, he was making his presence known. I figured I'd take the time to say hi to him, listen to his case as to why he thinks he should be governor after, taking a lot of votes from Governor Holcomb 4 years prior. Because I, crossed party lines to support, and I couldn't vote at the time, but I was a fan of his in 2020. Fast forward to now, if this stuff is true, and you talked to Rob, you went on the document, so I on the My Case website, so I have no doubt you're telling the truth. If this is true, and the fact that he's not going to defend himself, and the fact that he's going on a libertarian-friendly podcast, I think is very telling. And my message to Mr. Rainwater is this. Rob and Casey gave you a platform. They've given all three of them platforms. And I have a feeling that you're doing this just because Rob decided this time to support Mike Braun and Micah Beckwith. So all I say is this. If this stuff is not true and you made mistakes and you want to admit to them, again, these two have given you as much time as they want to go on there. And if you're only not participating because it's not beneficial to you politically, then I think it is a very stupid move on you. And personally, I don't see why he should even be running for governor if that's the way he's going to act, because he's not going to get even close to 3%. And in my opinion, his time came in 2020 and it's gone.
Go ahead.
Well, look, I'll just put it out there because people keep acting like, well, it's easy for people to get behind on child support payments. Okay. This is not about that. Let's just play a game that I would ask Don Rainwater if he were sitting here right now. The first question I would ask him, because this divorce was in the 90s, right? If it's about that happens. It does happen. I'm not upset about that. Nothing with that. Nothing. I don't care about that at all. But here's the question that I would ask him. Did you file for bankruptcy in 2009? And did you report racking up what it could be as much as $100,000 primarily in consumer debt? Would be the first question I'd ask him, and ask for an explanation of that. That was way up. This is what I'm talking about, people. You are sold on this idea of like they're going after the child custody stuff. I'm telling you, like this is a Dickens novel of stuff here, right? It's a Dickens novel of stuff that appears to have nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the stuff that happened in the 1990s. And I get everybody's got their favorite people. And there's people who have been livid at me for years for being, the Holcomb people hated me for years of being critical. I get it. But what we are doing on this show is what we have always done. What's our tagline? We dislike all of these people equally. I am treating Don the same way I would treat Eric Holcomb, the same way I treated Braun, the same way I treated McCormick, the same way I treat Jim Banks, the same way I've treated. I'm a split ticket voter. I'm voting for a libertarian for U.S. Senate. Like this idea that Rob is somehow like just wed to the Republicans, or I see all these things. Rob has been bought off by Braun. Rob has sold. I'm doing the same thing I've always done, which is I hold these people accountable. I'm one of the few people out here who actually say, I don't care who you are. I don't care what position you have. I don't care what position you're going for. You want to work for me. These are the questions. These are the way I would be handling you if you applied for a job with my company.
Rob Kendall doing what newspaper beat reporters used to do 40, 50 years ago when newspapers would hold people accountable. So Don has come out and he has said that he takes full responsibility for all his mistakes and that he gained invaluable life experience from this. Great. It still goes back to this isn't about divorce or child custody. It's about more than that. And if you know the full story, the consumer stuff, that Republican mailer, it was actually pretty gentle.
This, and again, like I said, I know some people it's not going to move, some people it's not going to make any difference, but we're doing the exact same thing that we do to every single other politician who comes in here, or appears in the state or makes decisions for this state, which is you work for us. And the reason our country's in the shape it's in is everybody goes into their little camp, everybody goes into their little corner, and when it's their guy or their girl, then you're the baddie. I got it last night from somebody. I agree with you on almost everything, but you're just being ridiculous. I'm not being anything. We gave Don an opportunity. Don would have been so much better off, Casey, if instead of going on that podcast last night, he would have come on with us. We would have asked him the questions directly. He could have answered the questions, and then we're done with it. In all the years I've been here, I've been in this business for over 20 years. You've been in it longer than I have. You're just like 3 years older than me.
Right.
But
just a couple.
I've never sandbagged anybody. I've never been accused of chopping anybody's legs off. I've never been accused of any sort of gotcha questions. I wouldn't do that. I want to know the explanations for these things. And he's doing himself a disservice. And by the way, going on a podcast and going after the radio guy, I don't have anything to do with this.
Right. Why is he demonizing you?
Right.
Those weren't your actions. Is the invitation still open?
Totally.
If he wants to come on the show.
Totally. And we would go down the list, and I would give him an opportunity to refute every single thing on here. And the thing I said yesterday is if Don could, he'd win tons of votes. If he could make the Republicans, after sending that ad out, and you and I both agree that ad was over the top, we would not have used that language. I would have put the stuff out, the stuff that he did, because it's factual. I would not have used that language. Tagging who somebody is as a dad or a husband or whatever, that should be off limits. But if Don could refute these things, he would come out, he would get so much publicity, he would get so many donations, he would be a rock star. And that's why we offered it to him. If it's dirty pool and you're being
falsely accused of things, say it loud and say it proud and tell the world what's going on.
All right, let's get to one more phone call, and then Hammer's going to join us. Donald Trump has a big day coming up on Sunday. He's going to do the fry cooker at McDonald's.
Yes, you're very excited about this.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see all of the shots of him working in McDonald's in his suit. Hopefully he won't be wearing a suit. But there's also, questions have come up about Kamala Harris. She claimed to have worked at McDonald's, which is why Donald Trump is doing this. And somebody wants to call and talk about their experience in fast food.
Good morning, guys. This is Michael in Carmel. I'm going to give away my age, but in 1971, between graduating from high school and entering IU, I worked at, back then, Burger Chef at 86th and Ditch, and did everything, unlike Kamala, who lies like a rug. But I still have my Social Security statement annually, and it lists all your employers.
Love this.
So even though that was 1971, the $600 I made that summer is accounted for in the Social Security files.
So if you adjust for inflation, that's $600.
Well, like we talked
thousands.
Like we talked about yesterday, though. And I worked with Cheryl, and I worked with Timmy, and I worked there. Remember that wacky guy, Eric? Like I can tell you specific people that I worked with when I worked at Arby's in high school. I can tell you who my boss was. I can tell you where the store was. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous that she can't produce any of this.
Any evidence?
Right.
I worked at Wendy's. I was a crew leader.
Yeah, good on you, girl.
Hammer's up next. It's 93 WIBC.
The victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Go to disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. That's disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. From the Salvation Army and WIBC.
Hey, guys, it's Rob from my friends and family at Life Church. You know, it's Thursday. That means Sunday's right around the corner. And this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, check out the place we call home, Life Church. Man, we love Life Church. They've had a great impact on my life, on my family's life over the years. They're warm, they're welcoming. They'd love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. And one of the great things about Life Church is there are many WIBC listeners who have found a home at Life Church over the years. They make it super simple for you. Campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Awesome online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
Jennifer McCormick backed Hillary Clinton for president. And when McCormick was in charge of education in Indiana, our schools ranked at the bottom. She even opposed school choice. Then McCormick backed Joe Biden for president and supported his $1 trillion spending scheme that caused all the inflation. Now she runs for governor on a plan that would increase your energy bills, create a new office of environmental justice, and ban gas stoves. Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal.
This is Mike Braun. Here's my plan for Indiana. I'll enforce immigration laws even when the federal government fails to act, keeping our streets safe and secure. And my plan lowers more costs. I'll cut property taxes, reduce energy bills, and expand parental choice and school voucher programs. Indiana needs strong leadership. We can get it done.
Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Hey, diamond lovers. Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget. Not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps. Or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
When you're hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology makes finding qualified candidates for your job easy. This made us wonder, what if the rest of the world was as easy as ZipRecruiter? Math problems wouldn't be so problematic.
K equals 42.
Escape rooms? Elementary. And summiting Everest would be a walk in the park. In the meantime, if you want to make your hiring easier, use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Simple. So, see what the world is like when ZipRecruiter does the hard work of hiring for you. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Eligible Hoosiers, listen up. Election Day is November 5th. This is a reminder from the Indiana Secretary of State. Make a plan to get to the polls and vote. Indiana's elections are safe, secure, and transparent. Go to indianavoters.com to find polling locations, volunteer to work at the polls, and more information for Election Day. Make your vote count this Election Day, November 5th. This message is brought to you by your Indiana Secretary of State.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. Maximize your home sale now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Dee and Andrew in Noblesville had to say about working with Mark Dietl. We were done with the rat race and ready to live the dream of buying a camper and traveling west. We needed top cash from our home to make the dream work. Thankfully, we hired Mark Dietl, who delivered big time. Our home sold for our asking price in 4 days on the market. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com. Tell him Rob sent
Our
you.
daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra is making its way back to Gamebridge Fieldhouse on December 19th with an all-new show, The Lost Christmas Eve Tour. For tickets and more information, head to WIBC.com.
Joining us from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel program, Jason Hammer. Good morning.
So this song you're hearing right here, and again, I never know what song DJ Kev is going to come in with. Third Eye Blind, lead singer Stephen Jenkins.
Yeah.
Probably the first rock star I ever interviewed. I was at Ball State, and they were part of this MTV tour where it was Third Eye Blind and Eve 6 coming to Emmons Auditorium. And I interviewed this guy, and he was a total D-bag.
Yeah.
Just
same experience.
A total, just scumbag.
Didn't really want to do the interview, was forced into it, and made it pleasant the entire time.
Oh, just the worst. So I'm glad it happened to you and not just me.
Yeah, no, it happened to me too.
I got to hang out with Willa Ford once in college.
Willa
Ford?
Yeah,
Remember
I Want
Willa?
to Be Bad.
Yeah, she was on some, it must have been MTV reality show where they went to college campuses. That was the 1 year I was at Indiana State, and they came to Indiana State, and it was a dare show where they would dare people to do stuff for money or whatever.
Right.
And they said, "Oh, hey, if you're a student here, come on down and be a part of the crowd." It was outside, and I remember I was this close to her, and I remember being like, "I wonder if she would date a college kid."
The answer is, how much money do you have?
Right.
Because she was dating that Backstreet boy at the time.
I bet a college freshman in Terre Haute is probably pretty appealing to her.
Who was your best interview? Like, who was the nicest?
It's weird because, as years go by, there are more stories about these people. But for the sake of transparency, the nicest person I ever interviewed was Pink.
Okay.
Now, there have been stories about how much she's a pain in the you-know-what. She scrubbed her Twitter when all the Diddy stuff went on. I don't know anything about that, but when she came out and she was already successful, she came by ZPL, did this meet and greet with some of our winners, and she was a delight. She was awesome. Like, I was just like the scrub promo kid. She was helping us wrap up microphone cords and, oh, you guys, let me help you with that.
That's nice.
Casey, did you know I once interviewed the president?
Yes, it was a great dream. Was that your nicest interview?
I didn't know if you knew that I interviewed the president one time.
Yes,
I don't mean to brag.
I've heard that.
Were you there, Rob, at ZPL when Avril Lavigne came in?
Oh, I remember this.
The pleather couch incident. So I was producing the afternoon show at this point, but I came in early because Avril Lavigne was performing. I was like, you know what? I'll go check it out.
Yeah.
And she threw a fit because she did not want to sit in the green room because she is such a vegetarian. She thought the couches were made of real leather. She could not sit on it. So we tried to explain to Avril.
Yeah.
Like, Avril, that's not real leather. That's manufactured. It's what's called pleather. It's fake.
You're at a radio station.
It's vinyl.
But it's still real leather if it's pleather. No, that's not really how it works. And she melted down, and I think eventually we just said, stand. I don't care.
She was with the skater boy. She said, see you later, boy.
Yes. Yes. That's when that song and Complicated were all out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Avril Lavigne not wanting to sit on the pleather couch because she's a vegetarian.
Did you mispronounce her name many times when she first hit the scene?
No, I studied French at Ball State, so I was all over that.
You knew it. Okay.
Yes, I was all over that one for sure.
We got a podcast that comes out today.
We do, and you have been the man on fire with the NFL.
That's right.
So,
thanks for putting the jinx on it. I appreciate that.
Hey, you did it to me. Picks against the spread in games last week. The representative of Brownsburg was 4-1.
Yep.
Prop bets, I was 5-0, which means this week we're all going to do miserable because that's how gambling works.
No, you guys know what you're talking
Degenerates
about.
next door. Get it wherever you get your podcast. It'll be out about 1 o'clock today. What's coming up this afternoon?
You are going to come up this afternoon, Rob Kendall, and go off the rails. You're looking at the clock like that's
I think I screwed that up. I don't think you got to talk that fast. You talk slow, really slow. Coming up this. I screwed that up.
Rob Kendall, I'll make it real dramatic, will join our show.
Yes.
And he will speak into that microphone.
Preach it, Hammer.
And he will speak with passion.
Yes.
And conviction. And he will go what the kids call off the rails.
Amen, brother.
You know, here's the problem. You're so intimidating that you have Kevin scared to death to play the music at any sort of reasonable level. And so I thought I had heard the music was starting, and they realized no, there is no music. I'd imagine the music was starting. So this is really your fault.
Well, with DJ Kev, there's no in betweens. Like the music will start. Next thing you know, it's like DEFCON 5, and I'm yelling, "Coming up tonight at 5:30."
It's either club level or lullaby. That's your choice.
Right. Kev goes hard in the paint, man. He does.
Thank you, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Rampant crime, crumbling roads, unaffordable housing, open borders, and high inflation. That's Andre Carson's record after 16 years in Congress. Have you had enough yet? It's time for John Schmitz, an Indy native who's working for safe streets, an end to inflation, and a bright future for Indy. John Schmitz has the experience, creativity, and energy to tackle the issues holding back Indianapolis. Help make Schmitz happen. Vote John Schmitz for Congress. Learn more at johnschmitzforcongress.com. I'm John Schmitz. I approve this message, paid for by Schmitz for Indiana.
Brian Regan.
My doctor looked at me and said, Brian, you are way too sedentary. So I vowed in that moment to get a dictionary.
Brian Regan live on stage.
But I haven't gotten around to it, just been laying around the house. Or is it lying around the house?
January 9th at Clues Memorial Hall. Tickets on sale Friday 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com or the venue box office. Don't miss Brian Regan.
The financial advisor industry is a flawed system. Find out how to fight back and protect your retirement on Expedition Retirement. Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Donnie Burgess reports on where things stand as far as the Delphi murders trial, but also you're talking about a shooting that happened last night. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio on 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 in Indianapolis.
Israel might have killed another Hamas leader. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's military working to identify if Yahya Sinwar is among the 3 militants killed in an operation in Gaza.
So if he is indeed dead, and this is confirmed by the Israelis, that means the IDF has taken out all 3 of the masterminds behind the October 7th massacre.
Fox's Trey Yangston Hife also reports Sinwar became a Hamas leader after spending decades in prison in Israel.
He was interviewed saying that he found it a blessing because he could plan more operations against the Israelis from behind bars. Now, he was released back in 2011 for Gilad Shalit, a man who was an Israeli soldier who was kidnapped into Gaza in 2006.
The U.S. went on the attack in Yemen with B-2 bombers dropping airstrikes targeting weapons storage for the Houthi militants who've been attacking ships in the Red Sea region, disrupting global shipping. 3 months after the first Trump assassination attempt at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, an independent panel has a new report critical of the Secret Service.
Former law enforcement officials warn another assassination attempt can and will happen again if there aren't major changes. The recommendations include replacing top Secret Service leaders and major reform of the agency, with the review claiming the agency has become bureaucratic, complacent, and static.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz. The FBI has revised violent crime statistics from 2022, bolstering Republican claims that Democrats had dismissed rising crime.
Originally, the FBI came out with a report indicating the violent crime rate estimate decreased from 2021 to 2022 by 2.1%, rounded up. Many months later, the FBI then adjusted the numbers, which indicated between 2021 and 2022, the violent crime estimate actually increased 4.5%.
Fox's David Spunt. 19 days before the election, a new Fox News poll gives former President Trump a 2-point lead over Vice President Harris nationally. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A shooting after an argument. Radar is clear. It's 48 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A woman shot to death on the west side. It was outside of a Red Roof Inn last night along Lyndhurst, where IMPD says shots were fired and a woman was found badly hurt. IMPD Captain Don Weilhammer.
This is permanent. So there's countless lives that are going to be affected by this, that what happened here tonight.
Witnesses say Chastity Hahn was fighting with someone before she was shot. She later died at the hospital. The jury selected for the Delphi murders trial will be sworn in today. Once that's done, they'll be sequestered and taken to Carroll County, where the trial is set to get underway on Friday. It's expected to last well into November, as both the state and defense plan to call hundreds of witnesses. He threatened a family because of their race, and he didn't stop there. Donnie Burgess reports.
Brian O'Neill lived in Whiting. From June 2022 to August of last year, he threatened his next-door neighbors, telling them to move, all because of their race. He shouted racial slurs and even threatened the landlord for allowing them into the neighborhood. When O'Neill was finally confronted by police, he tried to lie, but there was video evidence of O'Neill's actions. He accepted a plea deal and will spend the next 10 months in prison. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Do your research before you donate. The group called Indiana Call to Action recently held a campaign event for candidates for school board in St. Joseph County. Ben Dallas attended, thinking that his $25 for admission would be going towards candidates. Well, it turns out it's not the case.
Well, if they're not registered, then where is the money? Like, where's the money going? There's money coming in, so where's it going out?
He tells Wish TV that Indiana Call to Action is actually not a political action committee, but he was led to believe that they were. Now he's not sure where their money ended up. The preseason comes to an end tonight for the Indiana Pacers. They square off with the Charlotte Hornets at 7 o'clock. I'm Kirk Darling on The Level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
It's a bully that will not let up until you do something about it. And the worst part is that the bullying happens when you're at your most vulnerable. You might as well have your hands tied behind your back while that bully puts one hand over your mouth and pinches your nose with the other. He'll let up, let you catch your breath, and then he'll do it again. Sleep apnea is a bully. Not long ago, we heard our friend John tell you about how his bully was stopping his breathing in his sleep over 145 times an hour. Think about what that can do to your body's organs. It's no wonder that the snowball effects of long-term obstructive sleep apnea are heart disease, stroke, even depression and anxiety. But this problem is solvable, and we have solutions, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. It's time to put that bully in his place. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard Air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, October 17th. It's 5 minutes after 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they have very quietly updated their 22 crime data. This shows an increase in violent crime.
Wait. I thought it was down.
Oh, shocking, right?
Joe Biden, I thought, and Kamala, they said the violent crime's down, and that Trump's just making it all up to scare people about the immigrants.
Yeah. The 2.1% drop in violent crimes in 22 has now been revised to show a 4.5% increase.
Wait. So that was 2 years ago?
Yeah.
It took them 2 years to figure out they were 6 points off?
That's what I'm saying.
It's wild.
Yeah. Okay, so these updated crime stats, they just found. I didn't know they were missing, but they found them.
Oh, they're like those ballots in Pennsylvania that kept coming in.
Just found
Or Michigan.
them. Yeah, and you know what they should really do? Republicans should wait until all the ballots are turned in by the Democrats and then,
Yeah. Well, somebody had posted this, and it's true. The in these swing states, these rural counties should be last to turn their ballots in until they know how many ballots they need to find. And see if magically we can start finding them in the rural counties the way we do in the the urban areas.
Yeah. So they found an additional 1,699 murders, 7,780 rapes.
What does that mean they found them?
Yeah. A little bit misreporting, right?
We found a murder. Either someone was murdered or they weren't. How did you find the murder?
Yeah. It seems like they were oversimplifying the numbers just for political gain.
Well, this is why no one trusts the government. This is why everybody hates the government. This is why everybody has an opinion of zero of the government. Because how could you get that wrong?
And a lot wrong, because they also found over 33,000 robberies, and they found over 37,000 aggravated assaults.
So wait. So you're telling me, like, when Trump and Vance come out and talk about violent crime being on the rise, and they'd be accurate?
Correct.
And when Kamala and Joe Biden talked about how violent crime is down, they would be inaccurate?
Correct.
Okay, great. Glad we got that cleared up.
So I'm really wondering, is ABC going to apologize for this fact check? You remember this.
Crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud.
Isn't it amazing how often Trump is right?
So, Donald Trump is correct. David Muir and his fact-checking are wrong.
Isn't it amazing how many times Donald Trump is proven completely correct when he makes statements and people walk away after he's made the statement and say, see, Trump lied again. And then a week later, 2 weeks later, in this case, a month later, he's proven 100% correct.
That does seem like a pretty significant failure in accountability, both by the administration, the organization, and also the media.
Yeah, but look, these people in government are some of the, and the media too, right, are some of the most clueless people alive. I mean, I went through this the other night at that. I went to the town council. We haven't even talked about that yet, have we?
We haven't talked about
Maybe tomorrow we'll get into that council meeting in Warehouseburg. But for the purposes of this discussion, it devolved into complete chaos, and I was at the center of it. Why is it that everything always becomes about me? The government meetings become about me. The race for governor becomes about me. No matter where I go, it all becomes about. But the point is, at one point, I'm up there sparring with the just disastrous town council president. That's how, and we start talking about the completion of the Reagan from Avon to Brownsburg. He starts challenging me on infrastructure projects, and I start talking about it. And the assistant town manager pipes up, "That's a county project." What the hell it is? I was there at the groundbreaking. The point is, you have people who are running these towns. They don't even know what's a town project. What's a the government is made up of some of the most clueless, and I'm not talking about, there's a lot of great people who are just rank and file worker bee government people who love their country, love their state, love their county, love their cities. I'm talking about the people making choices in these communities who are some of the, and by the way, that's so funny you played David Muir, because my new nickname for the assistant town manager is David Muir.
Really?
Because he falsely I mean, think about this. You have a multi-million-dollar project in a town of 30,000 people. It's like, that's a huge project for a town that size. And your assistant town manager doesn't even know that was a town project.
You got fact-checked.
That the town paid millions of dollars. I mean, and what's scary about this is, as the assistant town manager, he helps craft the budget in which that bond is you're paying for that. You're paying for it, and you don't even recognize what you're paying for. These are the people that are running our society. And so we got to get into that tomorrow. I cannot believe that's been a week and we haven't discussed that. That was complete chaos. Maybe we'll just play the audio tomorrow. We'll just play me.
Did they mention your name?
Yes, they had me come up in front of the podium, and it started being me against the world. It was like Rob Kendall versus the world, and they kept trying to disprove me and fact check me. And it was just anyway. Point of all this is David Muir,
inaccuracy in reporting.
Whether it's your government. Who in the town I live in, they don't even know multi-million-dollar projects are funded by the town. They're paying the bonds on them. By the way, I found out what they're doing with that empty patch of grass.
Right, the $4 million empty.
Yeah, we finally found it. You won't believe how bad that is.
You're going to leave me hanging, or you're going to tell me now?
We're going to talk about it tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. No. It's the T. It's a suspense-oriented business, Casey. Come on.
Right.
But the point is, this stooge Muir gets it.
Wait,
totally,
which one? The one in Brownsburg or the one on ABC?
The real David Muir. Gets it totally wrong.
Yes.
Just like David Muir and Brownsburg.
Right.
But there's no punishment.
Oh,
there's no repercussion.
No.
It's not like, I guarantee it's not like in Brownsburg, the town manager went to that guy and was like, berated him. You idiot. How could you not? No, there was nothing said other than Rob Kendall's an ass. I guarantee that was the.
Just move along.
Right.
And can you imagine if the tables were turned on the Republicans, and it was a Republican administration, and they had celebrated these erroneous statistics, the media outcry would have been deafening. It just underscores this broad issue about trust in institutions and data, and it makes you question if they did that on purpose.
Oh, there's no doubt. Look at all the crap they've pulled. Look at all the crap these people pull on the regular. You think manipulating crime data would be above them? They do it with employment all the time. How many times do we hear, in a revised employment data, the numbers were not as good as when Biden had sent the information out right before a fundraising pitch?
Okay, so a new report came out, and it says that Indiana ranks near the bottom in regards to political engagement. So back in the 2020 election, about 66.8% of people turned out to vote. That is nationwide. Indiana, well below that. Some states clearly are much more politically engaged than others. Indiana, not really one of them, ranked 45th for voter turnout in the 2020 presidential election, 49th in the 22 midterms. And right now, currently, Indiana ranks 46th as far as political engagement goes. This according to a new report from Wallet Hub.
So we got into this a little bit the other day because the Capitol Chronicle had that article. And we talked about a variety of reasons people don't engage. I maintain a lot of it is these candidates don't excite anybody. They don't give people a reason to be passionate about going to vote. Let's face it, we are the most entertaining thing going on in Indiana politics and government. 9 to noon each day on in terms of we focus on Indiana politics and government. You know, Hammer and Nigel, they cover it, but they do a lot more kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Tony does a lot more national stuff. When you talk about Indiana politics and government, which is the bread and butter of our show, we are by far the most entertaining thing going on. And these candidates, they just don't excite anybody. People need to be passionate. It's no different than, like we started the show earlier today, talking about entertainment, right? We are in politics now is dinner theater. We have, as a society, we have a collective, for whatever reason, have said we are not taking our voting serious. We're not demanding serious candidates. We've just turned it into dinner theater. Well, if that's the operation, then you got to give the people what they want. You got to give them a reason. We give them a reason every day. It's like, who are Rob and Casey going to flamethrow today? You know what the people? It's whether you like us or you hate us. We give you a reason to tune in. It's just like watching television. Or watching sports, for example. If the afternoon game on Sunday is the Chiefs and the 49ers, the ratings for that game are going to be phenomenal. Why? Because it's a Super Bowl rematch. It's Mahomes. It's Kelsey.
Yeah.
Is Taylor Swift going to be
right?
Like, there's so many reasons for a variety of people to be it's going to be a great game. You're going to want to watch that. Versus if the afternoon game it's the Jaguars and the Raiders. There's no star power with that. Nobody's tuning in for that.
Snooze fest.
The politicians in this state, the politicians in our various cities, the politicians in our communities, the politicians nationally, for the most part, it's true. They don't give people a compelling reason to feel they need to go vote. Again, like, let's just take the governor's race. Does anybody think Mike Braun would be like this super uber fun guy to hang out with? Like, if Mike Braun's giving a speech, you're like, whoo, can't miss that. No, of course not. Jennifer McCormick, same thing. Rainwater, no. There's no reason. There's no reason to be fired up. The Senate, you can't even find Jim Banks. He's too chicken to debate. Valerie McRae, I wouldn't know if she walked past me. Andy Horning, God love him. He's been running, I think, since the Clinton administration. I mean, all of this, right? Straight down the most entertaining race by far is the Attorney General's race. Why? Because those two get in there. Those two, Indiana Beto and Rokita,
Yep,
they
they're
mix it
stirring
up. They throw insults at each other. They throw haymakers at each other. Let's go. It's fun to talk about. Our politicians do not elevate past voter apathy, and that's a big bar to overcome, and they simply don't bring it to the table.
I wonder if that's why Indiana also ranking very low as far as political contributions go, and I'm wondering if it's that same apathy.
Or is it just the state is so one party? Like, if you're going to delegate your dollars, well, first of all, why would you actually give money to these people? Like, you give to your local school board candidates or city or town council candidates or whatever. Why would you give money to any of these people? What compelling reason? Who are you super fired up about? I mean, even the race like Rokita and Indiana Beto, we know neither one of them are really good at that job or actually going to do a satisfactory job. There's no compelling reason, because when you don't, it's an emotional connection. Giving money, whether it's to the Salvation Army during Radiothon or giving to your favorite political candidate, It's about emotional connection, and these candidates do not connect with people on an emotional level.
Hey, you mentioned Salvation Army and the Radiothon. By the way, they won an award last night.
What?
Yeah, they won a Spectrum Award from the Indiana Broadcasters Association.
Who won a Spectrum Award?
Well, Mel did, and WIBC did.
Why didn't we get to go?
Well,
we were part of that.
We were, but I think they sent Matt and Mel to accept on behalf of everybody.
Should have sent us.
So congratulations to her for all her hard work that she does with that.
Yeah, she does a fine job. Yes, absolutely.
She was acknowledged for it. You remember that award show that we were...
Yeah, they stole that award from us last year.
Yeah.
This is the same group of people that stole that award from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop the steal. And then they didn't invite us back this year because we tweeted out stop the steal.
They did not invite us back. However, they did acknowledge the good work that everybody does with the Salvation Army. By the way, one last thing that I wanted to point out as far as this political engagement in the great state of Indiana. I know this may shock you. Younger voters are less engaged. Only 38% of people aged 18 to 24 voting, compared to 75% of people aged 65 and older.
Young people will show up if you give them a reason to. When I was running, I spent a whole day at the high school talking to the government class about what do you want the town to be. And I remember at the time, the guy I was running against and his people, they chuckled. Oh, this kid, he doesn't know anything. What a waste of time. We registered probably 100 kids to vote that day.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of them showed up to vote, and they brought their parents to vote. And that's a big reason we won over. When you engage people, like Greg Ballard's a great example of this. Greg Ballard was the last Republican mayor of Indianapolis. And in 2007, he pulled off one of the greatest upsets in the history of not just the city, but of state politics. Why? Because he engaged voter groups, especially black men, where they are. He went to those churches, he went into those communities, and those people, many of them, because they said for the first time, somebody cares about me from the Republican Party, somebody's interested in me, the same way as those kids showed up to vote for me. You can't write people off. You gotta give them a reason to believe in you.
The most politically engaged state in the country? You care to take a guess?
Washington.
No.
Dang.
Maryland.
Dang.
And the
totally wrong side of the country, too.
Yeah, least politically engaged state is Arkansas. Of course, if you want to read more about this, you can find it online at WIBC.com. Really? And just go down to the side piece. Yeah, it is Maryland. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Sadly, people don't carry cash anymore. I don't carry cash. No. It's better, especially if you live in a metropolitan area, that you don't have to carry cash.
That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Well, men carry cash, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, stop it.
So how much cash do you have on you right now?
Nothing. None. No. Don't need it. I'm digital, man. I'm digital. Man.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
If you are a single or widowed woman, well, the statistics aren't very pretty. You run into a far greater risk of running out of money in retirement than any man or married couple. Hello there, it's Terry Stacy, and the last thing you want to be is 80 years old, full of life, and flat broke. Discover the strategies that could ensure you never run out of money in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy. I know Bill and I trust Bill, and I'm so thankful that he was able to help my mom too. I don't put my name on any random Joe, but I'm here to say you can count on Bill Demery. Call Bill at 317-349-5212. That's 317-349-5212. 317-349-5212. Call Bill right now.
Indiana has nearly 2,800 pig farmers and ranks 5th in the country in pork production. Hoosier pig farmers are raising some of the finest pork in the nation. October is National Pork Month. From family farms to innovative operations, Indiana's pig farmers are committed to quality and sustainability, all while providing your family pork that's packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals that are good for you. So the next time you're at the grocery store or your favorite restaurant, make pork your choice and celebrate Indiana pig farmers.
discourse. Did you know every 3 seconds someone is a victim of identity theft? LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity this Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Adding multi-factor authentication, like a text with a security code, is one way to boost your security. But for comprehensive protection, trust LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal info and steps in to resolve issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect yourself with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
We won't get term limits by re-electing incumbents. We won't get truth when we tolerate lies. We won't get the corrupting money out of campaigns if we keep voting for it. We're going the wrong direction, and our so-called lesser evil choices keep getting more evil all the time. Hi, I'm Andy Horning, author of Relighting the Torch, HorningForSenate.com, and the Libertarian candidate for U.S. Senate. Use your weapon of peaceful revolution against World War III, societal and economic collapse, and vote for me. Paid for by Horning for Senate, Candy Miller, Treasurer.
There is still time to get a patio this season. Get on the books now for a patio this fall. Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts, changing the way Indy thinks about concrete.
Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Well, are you? That was a question that was famously asked by Ronald Reagan back in 1980, and it's still being asked today. And according to Rasmussen reports, the answer is no by 56%. It was a 16-point margin that voters said, no, we are not better off than we were 4 years ago.
If the jelly beans are counted properly, it should be a landslide win for Donald Trump. And look, I'm a guy, and people remember on these airwaves, I was the one guy saying it, I think Trump's in big trouble in 2020. And there's a very famous video of all the WIBC air staff making predictions, et cetera. And I, we talked about that length on air, et cetera. So I'm fair on this. Like, if I thought Trump was losing or was in trouble, now what I can't predict is the jelly bean counting. When you have mass mail-in unaccountable voting, and you don't know who filled the ballot out, you don't even really know who requested the ballot, you don't know how it got back, you don't know the chain of command. I don't know. Pennsylvania is going to start with a pretty big firewall for the Democrats if you look at those early voting numbers. But by every traditional measure by which society chooses a president, Kamala Harris should not only lose but have a resounding loss on Election Day. And I know a lot of people don't like Trump, but the condition of this country is so bad. And I've seen people say this, and they may be right, that they should have just stayed with Biden.
Did you see the memes going around last night after her interview? People doing some AI dubbing of him and that engagement that he had with Barack Obama.
Yeah.
So are you saying you want me back?
Because the Biden bad stuff was already baked in. And the problem with like a Kamala Harris, it's like, I think I've told this story before. Not proud of it, but, we put our lives out there for people. When I was in the 6th grade, I spent the whole year trying to get the best-looking girl at Lincoln Elementary in the 6th grade to be my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And Casey,
yeah,
it took me a whole year, but right before the end of the school year, she finally said yes.
Okay.
And we had a fun summer together.
Yeah.
And it was great, and it was wonderful, and it was totally worth all of the effort. And then, Casey, school started again. And you go to 7th grade.
Yeah.
And in 7th grade, not only do you have all the girls from all the other elementary schools who you didn't know existed, it was like, must have been like what happened when Columbus discovered the Americas, right? All of this exists and I never knew it? Not only do you have those girls, you have the 8th grade girls.
Oh, boy.
And there was always those 8th grade girls who were willing to feel sorry for a cute little 7th grade kid. And show them an enjoyable experience. And so the point was, I had this very stable, nice thing that I had worked very hard for, but the thought of something different, the thought of something better, the idea that something greater was around the corner, the lure of that, Casey, was so strong that I did the most stupid thing imaginable and left the sure thing because of the lure. And the next girl I ended up with, after like 3 weeks.
Not as nice, huh?
I was like, I need to go back to the thing I had before because that was really stupid.
She take you back? No, she was smart.
Casey, imagine me now, except a younger, even more obnoxious, less mature version of what is here today. And that would be 13-year-old Rob Kendall.
You were looking for the BBD, the bigger, better deal.
The point of this, the point of all this is, with the Democrats, they were so desperate to get rid of the guy who won. And by the way, say whatever you want to say about Biden. The guy won those Senate races all those years. He won twice as vice president. He won as president. Now, he did have 2 presidential campaigns that were derailed. But by and large, Joe Biden knew how to get across the finish line. Joe Biden knew how to win elections. And so now you left because, Biden's so bad and there's got to be something better out there. And, well, it's got to be Kamala, right? Because we can't hop over the black woman. And some people were probably like, hey, she's pretty awful too. Doesn't matter. It's not Biden. And then after 2 or 3 weeks.
Yikes. What have we done?
Right. They are me in the 7th grade at Brownsburg Junior High School.
Can we go back to girl number 1?
Except you're stuck with her. You're stuck with her. There's no hope. There's no optimism. There is no better thing. Because people look at this now and they go, unlike Biden, at least with Biden, you'd say, well, worst case scenario, it's 4 more years of this. He may, and I don't mean to be morbid when I say this, but he may not be able to complete his term and we can put somebody else in anyway. With her, now you're stuck with the potential of 8 years in the abyss because if she wins, it's going to be a disaster. Then she's going to run again. She's going to lose that one. And if you're the Democrats, you should have just stayed with what you had before.
Well, boy, you just put an exclamation point on the importance of voting in this presidential election.
How about that? That's why we're number 1, Casey.
Yikes. Can we play this clip from last night when Brett Baer from Fox News was interviewing Kamala Harris? He said that more than 70% of Americans say the country is on the wrong track. And if you're turning the page, from what? Her being in office for 3.5 years?
Frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam Vice
You and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me.
Over the last decade, what is she talking about?
Do you ever have that at 2 a.m. at a bar?
Democrats have been in power.
Kev, have you ever had that at 2 a.m. where somebody next to you may have been slightly overserved and they'll just start jibber-jabbering?
You know what I'm saying.
Sometimes that's me.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
and then they follow it up with a, anyway.
I've actually seen Kevin be You Know What I'm Talking About guy. Night with WIBC last year. Kev was You Know What I'm Talking
We
About
had a lot
guy.
of great conversation.
We did.
Unfortunately, you don't remember any of them.
No, you know what I'm talking Kev, that's not even English.
You're listening to Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He says they had it wrong. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. The man who was arrested outside of last Saturday's Trump rally in California is suing the Riverside County Sheriff's Department for defamation. The lawsuit filed by Vem Miller comes after Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco announced his deputies probably prevented a third assassination attempt on the former president. Miller says Bianco fabricated that claim in order to be viewed as heroic. Getting around the I-65 southbound closure in downtown Indy from Alabama Street to West Street is not an easy task for many commuters.
And I had to loop back around. It was a mess.
That's Turquoise Harvin, who's a waitress at Tavern on South right by West Street. She tells Wish TV her commute now takes her twice the amount of time to get home than it usually does. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It is Thursday. That means Sunday's right around the corner. And this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, check out my friends and family at Life Church. We love many things about Life Church. One of them is all the WIBC listeners we see at Life Church. Yeah, over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church. They're warm. They're welcoming at Life Church. They go out of their way to make you feel like so much more than just a number. You're an individual. You're special. You matter. See it for yourself. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, plus awesome online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
This November, Indianapolis will play host to one of the most prestigious culinary competitions in the world, the World Food Championships. From November 8th through the 12th, the city will welcome over 300 cooking teams, battling in 12 unique food categories.
All of this is going down at the Indiana Farm Bureau Fall Creek Pavilion. It's inside the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Food samples, cooking demonstrations, celebrity chef appearances, family fun zone, and more. To learn more or buy tickets, visit worldfoodchampionships.com.
My husband, Bob, has Parkinson's, and he needs more help now, and I need more support to help him. Thanks to Indiana Pathways for Aging, we're getting the support we need to help him right here at home, like with meal prep and basic personal care, and even respite support for me.
Pathways provides Hoosier Medicaid members, age 60 and over, support for care their way, so they can live life their way. To learn more, eligible members call 87 Pathway 4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
Make your game day experience the best it can be. The Colts VIP Tailgate, presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration, exclusively from BullseyeEventGroup.com. The party is on for every Colts home game with an all-you-can-eat, all-you-can-drink VIP experience and DJ Skids providing the entertainment. Live large and pregame like a pro. If you need tickets to the game, Bullseye Event Group can help you in that department too. Make sure you're part of the party before the next Colts home game. Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com. That's BullseyeEventGroup.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max used for adults only.
Is your pet a digging enthusiast, an escape artist, or a counter surfer? Invisible Fence brand has you covered. For the wannabe landscaper, we've got a solution to keep them active but not destructive. For the escape artist, our personalized pet fences keep them safe and sound at home. Counter surfer? No problem. We know how to keep cheese thieves at bay. Invisible Fence brand. Tailor-made solutions for your pet, your yard, and your needs. Visit invisiblefence.com today.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-735-0911. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-735-0911. 800-735-0911. That's 800-735-0911.
BW HVAC Plumbing and Electrical is here to make the fall cozy, comfortable, and hassle-free. Go to bplusw.com/radio to schedule your appointment today. B&W is your independent American Standard Air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Indiana's future influence depends on increasing voter participation. We talked about this previously, how younger voters are less engaged, with only 38% showing up to vote, while 75% of seniors or people aged 65 and older are engaged in the political process.
Do you remember when you started voting?
Yeah, right when I was 18.
So, I mean, you've been an active, voter since you were 18?
Yes, and I voted for Donald Trump in 2016. I voted for Donald Trump in 2020.
Hey, you're way ahead of McCormick.
I will be voting for Donald Trump.
Remember, McCormick claimed she couldn't remember who she voted for in 2020. These politicians are just the worst, aren't they? Like, I don't remember who I voted for president in 2016. Get out of here, lady. What a lying sack of
Sure
crap
you
she
do.
is.
Okay, so now we have the battle of the grandmas, okay? First up, you've got a Democrat. Now, do you think that this grandma knows what's going on here? That's you,
Kev,
Kevin.
this is where you do your job.
Okay, Grandma, do you want to vote for the first black woman president ever? Yeah. Okay, she's a Democrat, too. Okay, so I'll show you where to write. Keep the pen in your hand, and it's right here.
She's filling it out for her.
Good job, Grandma. You got to vote for the first woman president. Harris. Kamala Harris.
Now, keep in mind, the lady who was helping this woman vote was pretty much holding her hand and
It's Jimmy Carter.
filling in the circle for her. Yes,
Does anybody
exactly.
believe Jimmy Carter knows he voted for Kamala Harris? I mean, seriously, does anybody know that Jimmy Carter actually voted for Kamala Harris?
Mm-hmm.
How could Jimmy Carter, having seen Jimmy Carter, vote for anyone?
Right.
When you saw
He
him
couldn't even hold a pen
Well,
to
exactly,
do it.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so did they say what state this was in?
No.
Because it's important. I'm glad you played that, because that crap is the crap going on in Pennsylvania.
That could possibly not even be her grandma.
Of course not.
Could be somebody in a nursing home.
Think about in Pennsylvania, they send out the ballot. You have no idea who gets the ballot. Like in Indiana, if you're going to vote by absentee by mail, you have to include signature, the a copy of the driver's license, the same way that they judge you when you come in the polls. So at least there is some. You have to request the ballot. There's a process for that. In places like Pennsylvania, that stuff happens all over the place.
Now, what you can't see because you're listening to it is after the lady helps the older woman circle in the ballot, she practically drops the pen because she's so weak she can't even hold on to the pen. Now we go to a Trump supporter. This video has over 170,000 likes.
My name is Rosalie Cianelli. I'm 105 years old. My days are numbered, not yours. We can't have another 4 years of this administration. You please vote for President Trump. He's the only one now that can turn this country around. We are in dire need of a new administration.
That's awesome.
Right?
Good on that woman.
Now, when that woman goes to vote, you actually believe that that is her intent. That's what she plans and wants to do.
You know, she said something, though, that really hits home, which is she said, hey, my days are numbered. And that might sound kind of morbid, but it's interesting. You know, like I do this nightly journal for my daughter. And one of the things that I have written about is, and I heard this phrase years ago, and it's true. You reach a point in your life where you realize there is a good chance that there were more yesterdays than tomorrows. So, like, I think of myself at 40, which hopefully is very, very young, and I still have many years left. But I think about, like, realistically, how fast 20 years went by, which seems like a blink of an eye. Your whole life is in front of you at 20. Your whole life is right there at 40. And then you realize in the same amount of time, which seems like a blink of an eye, realistically, most of your life is behind you. And so one of the things that I write for her is, and I know people, it's always Rob's a shtick, it's a shock jock, it's a this, it's a that. No, I do this because I believe in this stuff. I believe the stuff that I say here. I love this country. I love this state. I love the place that I live. I recognize, as we've talked about, how to reach people, and I do it in a way that I think I can best reach people. But I do, even at 40 years old, I recognize, hey, time's a moving, right? And my daughter and hopefully the future children that we're blessed to have, they're going to inherit whatever positive that I can leave them, right? We all go at some point, and then of this earth, what you're left with are the people that you left behind. And I love that she said that, the realism of that, which is, hey, I may not be here, not screw next election cycle this time next year.
Right.
But I'm going to do this for you guys.
Right.
Because listen to me about what this country needs to be. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there was a new survey that came out. They surveyed 2,000 adults, split evenly by gender, also generation. And they revealed that because their bank account balance doesn't change, 29% of Americans believe that spending cash doesn't actually, air quote, count as spending money.
Yes, I have seen this before, and this is a real thing where people get so obsessed with a number that if they spend the cash, they do feel better about whatever purchase they've made.
Now, in this article, they're chalking it up to the social media trend that's called girl math. But 35% say that carrying cash around makes them feel more prepared, and only 5% claim that they never have paper money on their person. So it's go time, Rob Kendall. How much cash you got on your person right
All right,
now?
what do you think the Price is Right rules, you guys? Now, I took some money out of my wallet because it's a Hammer gave me my percentage of the Project Rescue money for all the. By the way, you're wearing your I Love Rob Kendall shirt today.
I am, and I did bring the I Hate Rob Kendall shirt just in case things took a turn. I was prepared either way.
You can get yours at store.hammerandnigel.com, and my portion of the proceeds, you can tell me you hate me, and I get no money out of it. Every dollar I get goes to Project Rescue. So Hammer just brought me my, I don't know, commission or royalty or whatever, which I'll be dropping off at church next week. So I took that out.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going to play Price is Right rules. How much money is in Rob's wallet? You go over, you lose.
Okay.
All right, Casey, you're first.
I know last time you had more money than I did, so I'm going to say $62 is how much you have.
$62 cash dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
62 paper money.
Kev, how many dollars?
I'm going to say $50.
$50. All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Doing this here. Pulling the wallet out. And I have on my person.
Yeah.
Let's see here. 10.
Yeah.
11.
Ooh.
12.
Okay.
13.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, neither one of you win.
We both went over, didn't we?
I don't do much cash anymore just because, one, it's hard to carry around. Two, I am, this will surprise you, I am very meticulous in paying off my credit card one day after the bill arrives.
Mm-hmm.
I do, yes, pay it in person. I do pay it with the check. And so I enjoy getting the free money that comes with that. All right, now I'm going to guess you, because you're a casino person and you're a trip on a whim person, you probably have a great deal of money on your person.
How much do you think?
I will say, well, okay, Price is Right rules we go over. I will say you easily have at least $100 on your person.
Okay. Kevin, what do you think?
I'm going to say $40.
$40. All right. Now, I have to preface this by saying I was given some cash by the dude because of our last trip.
Okay.
It was always the emergency just in case cash, right? All right, here we go. 100, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 281, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, $289.
You're $289, so I won. I mean, I wasn't close.
I'm walking around with that. I should not be
I love
broadcasting.
it. She peeled that out, Kevin. It was just $100 bills. I thought there were more hundreds than were actually there.
I should really not be telling everybody I have that much cash on me. But, okay, so this trend of people not thinking that cash counts as money, does that reflect like a detachment of the value of actual money?
No, it reflects that people are stupid and are not taught. They're not taught the value of a dollar. They're not taught how to manage money. They're not taught how to responsibly spend money.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's the people are stupid. That's
or
what
does it
reflects.
show a detachment because of how younger people rely on digital currency and digital payments?
Well,
you're old fashioned. You go old school. You actually go to the place to pay the bill.
I pay everything everything in person. Yeah, I feel great power in signing a check, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind admitting that. There's great power that I'm giving someone money and I get to sign my name to that, and they will know Rob Kendall is the reason I'm getting this money.
So the FTC has finalized their click to cancel rule, and now this is going to require companies to make it easy to cancel a subscription.
Oh.
Just as easily as how you sign up.
Right.
And this affects a lot of people. This is something that the Biden administration actually is doing that is consumer friendly, because a lot of people say this is a problem. You think of like Planet Fitness.
Sure.
They have the rule where they actually make you go into a location if you want to cancel a subscription, right? Well, now they're trying to make it possible you can just do it on your phone, Rob.
Great.
Do it on your phone.
Do it on your phone? What do you do on your phone? What do you mean do it on your phone?
You just cancel your subscription on your phone.
Yeah, I don't do anything on my phone. That wouldn't help me. I'd have to go in person anyway.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
The victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Go to disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. That's disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. From the Salvation Army and WIBC.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577.
Service today?
Today.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Our Turn Back the Time sale has been so crazy good that we're now extending it through Monday, November the 4th. Everything from Lazy Boy, Smith Brothers, dining, bedroom, it's all on sale at pre-pandemic prices with free delivery within 75 miles of our store. You will never see these prices again. Hurry in to Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Sale ends Monday.
18 years ago, Tom and Sarah Joyner started Joyner Homes in Greenfield, and to date, they've built hundreds of homes across central Indiana. The homes they build are different than the cookie-cutter houses you see today. They build homes that have the character like the homes of yesterday, but have modern features, character-rich features, exposed wood beams, stone fireplaces, custom build-ins, and smart design. Building a new home doesn't have to be a headache. Joyner Homes will build you a truly unique, beautiful home. Visit JoynerHomes.com.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it.
800-385-6247. 800-385-6247. 800-385-6247. That's 800-385-6247.
The Home and Garden Show is on the road this weekend. Join Pat, Denny, and the gang this Saturday as they broadcast live from Builders Lumber in Shelbyville from 9 to 1 for the Builders Lumber Egg Fest from 93 WIBC.
Can we talk about the amount of people who have wasted their entire morning hating me?
I'm not one of them. I'm supporting you today, clearly, as I'm wearing the I Love Rob Kendall t-shirt.
I find this fascinating.
Yeah.
So like my ability to predict the behavior of people and then just enjoyed that actual behavior coming through. So like last night when Rainwater was on that podcast and he's deflecting and he's spinning, and I get ready to send my tweet out about old Dodging Don. And I think the nickname is what got him. That's our name for Don going forward, is Dodging Don, because he's dodging the truth. I get ready to send this tweet, and I said, I looked at my wife, and I said, the world is going to explode, and he is going to get derailed on this podcast, and it's going to become entirely about me going forward. 3, 2, 1, send. And within, I'm not kidding, Casey, like 1 minute, it happened. And I just looked at my wife, and she just started rolling. And she was like, I can't believe you knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah, and people had some not so very nice things to say to you and about you. You were told where to go. You were told what to do.
Like at this point, though, you would think after all these years, it would catch on to people that I am not a normal person. Like, this does not mean
no kidding
anything.
The interesting thing that I noticed about all of the people that were coming at you, especially online, was they had a very small amount of followers. Okay, whatever. But they weren't using their real name. They were hiding behind some,
and then these people on Facebook, even
BF549 TK421 thing.
Some of the people on Facebook are using their real name. But my point on this is, like, what are you getting out of this? Like, people, like, you're totally being derailed. I'm a radio broadcaster. I'm not on any ballot. I'm not running for anything. I have no intention to run for anything. I've had that season of like. We're radio people with the #1 show in the city. What do you mean I'm being... I comment on the news. News happens, I comment on it. News happens, I comment on it. The people, when are you going to address Braun? We've addressed Braun for 7 years on this show. Any topic you're going to throw out about Braun that's negative, trust me, we've addressed it. The libertarians just are not used to being relevant enough to be commented on, and now you're being treated like everybody else.
Is it interesting to you that some of the libertarians are taking the stance of almost like a bullying behavior like a Democrat does?
Well, right. You're right. They have turned into the thing they claim to hate, which is we are addressing the thing which is in front of us, which is this candidate has made fiscal responsibility, fiscal management, the center point of his campaign. And clearly he has very serious issues related to that. And then they're like, it's the tribalism thing. It doesn't matter. But my thing is, you people should know by now. And you know why this happened? My dad was a federal law enforcement officer growing up, and he dealt with some of the worst people imaginable. And my dad had this amazing ability that the meaner you were to him, the more he liked it.
Right.
Dealing with some really
motivated
dangerous,
by that.
awful people. And I learned that growing up, and that's why I am the way I am today. The meaner you are to me, the more joy I get out of it. And these people all these years later still can't figure that out.
He passed that on to you. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
As summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-494-5004 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-494-5004. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-626-5252. 800-626-5252. 800-626-5252.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying